Chapter 3185. After Lin Xian descended from the sky, he looked at the blood-red figure in the distance and said coldly, "You are Patriarch Shui Pao." Buzz. Patriarch Shui Pao opened his eyes. As his eyes opened and closed, the 9 heavens and 10 lands shook. He was also carefully observing Lin Xian and was extremely shocked. He was too young. He could not imagine that such a young person would be a sage-to-be. But soon he stopped thinking about it. So what if he was young and a genius? Today he would kill him with his own hands. "Kid, you killed my disciple and destroyed my divided soul. You will definitely die. Kneel down now, and I will leave you a complete corpse. Otherwise, I will turn you into one of the 3,000 rivers of blood. You will never be reincarnated. You think you can do it? I am afraid you can't do it." Lin Xian took a step forward. The aura on his body suddenly burst out and turned into a shocking divine sword that shot into the sky. Terrifying flames lit up the entire sky. At this moment, Lin Xian was unstoppable. As soon as this aura was released, all the surrounding elites trembled again. The power of half a lifetime. Qi family patriarch's eyes burst out with a piercing cold light. Qi Siyu, who was next to him, was stunned. On the other side, Nether King, 7 luminaries, Yu Linglong, Heimo, and the others were extremely shocked. The power of a sage-to-be. Impossible. He had the power of a sage-to-be. He was a sage-to-be. These people were going crazy. Lin Xian was a sage-to-be. This was beyond their understanding. They remembered that when they left the House of Extraordinary Warriors, Lin Xian had only comprehended a power that was close to Tao, but now he had become a sage-to-be. The speed of his improvement was too fast. They had never heard of any monster who could cultivate at such a speed. Heimo, in particular, trembled. His face was extremely pale. This kind of irresistible fear once again shrouded him. Previously, in the House of Extraordinary Warriors ranking competition, Lin Xian had grasped a power that was close to Tao. At that time, he had this kind of fear and despair. Since then, he had gone through countless life-and-death battles and finally comprehended a power that was close to Tao. In his opinion, he could finally avenge his humiliation and even defeat his opponent. However, when they met again, he noticed that Ouyangming had already left him in the dust and became a half-saint. This was a kind of despair. From now on, Heimo would live in Lin Xian's shadow for the rest of his life. In the sky, Ancestor Shui Pao's eyes shone brightly. "I didn't expect you to really be a half-saint. No wonder he dared to be so arrogant." Patriarch Shui Pao rose to his feet, and as he did, the 3,000 seas of blood behind him began to roar. "However, you really don't know life from death. There are strong and weak half-saints as well. You have no chance of winning against me. Today, I will kill you with my own hands." A terrifying voice resounded throughout the world, causing everyone to tremble. Indeed, they were all semi-sage experts. However, there was a difference in strength between them. There was no doubt that Patriarch Shui Pao was a very powerful half-saint. "There's no point in talking anymore. Make your move. Let me see how strong you are, Patriarch Shui Pao." Lin Xian's eyes shone with a cold light. He could feel his blood boiling. Ever since he became a half-saint, he had not used his full strength. Previously, Patriarch Wan's blood had dried up. Although he had improved his secret technique, he could not reach the peak. Therefore, in that battle, Lin Xian did not use his full strength. Today's battle with Patriarch Shui Pao was something that Lin Xian had been looking forward to for a long time. He wanted to properly test his strength and see just how strong he was now. "If you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish." Tens of thousands of rays of blood-red light bloomed from Patriarch Shui Pao's body, sweeping across the entire world. He was like a blood-red demon king, displaying his powerful strength at this moment. Between heaven and earth, the sea of blood roared and engulfed Lin Xian. "It's too scary. Retreat quickly." The surrounding geniuses and experts who were watching the battle frantically retreated. They had no choice. They did not expect Patriarch Shui Pao to display such a terrifying aura as soon as he appeared. The precept fragment could easily kill them. Good timing. Lin Xian roared. His black hair danced wildly, and his eyes shone with a cold light. His fist was like a sun dancing in the sky. Everywhere it passed, the sea of blood burned. Their precept fragments collided in the air. Every strike was like a clap of thunder. With a wave of his hand, everything within 1,000,000 miles turned into chaos. A terrifying black hole appeared, as if it was going to devour everything. It was too scary. In the field, other than Patriarch Qi and a few other hidden half-sages who could remain calm, everyone else was pushed 5,000,000 miles away. The entire Great Scarlet Plain was overturned in an instant. He was actually this powerful. Nether King was shocked. Beside him, Seven Radiance's face was extremely ugly. He had been dismissive of Lin Wuti before, but now that he thought about it, Lin Wuti was really stupid. A wisp of Lin Wuti's aura could easily kill him. He's too strong. I'm afraid we won't be able to catch up to him in this lifetime. Jun Weia laughed bitterly. Yu Linglong's mouth also twitched. Lin Xian had now become a mountain in front of them. It would be difficult for them to climb over it in their lifetime. After one strike, Lin Xian and Patriarch Shui Pao separated. Lin Xian stood with his hands behind his back. Sword light surrounded him, making him look like a sword god. On the other side, Patriarch Shui Pao's 3,000 blood sea surged. The terrifying precept of blood suppressed the world. However, his face was a little serious. Kid, you have some skills. You can actually block my strike. However, that was just a probing attack. I'm going to be serious now. As he spoke, he waved his hand. The 3,000 blood rivers behind him, together with the precept of blood, charged forward. They turned into 3,000 blood-colored long blades and exploded in front of him. 9 suns opened the sky. Lin Xian's fist seemed to turn into a divine light. It had the power to split the world apart. The precept of fire burned. It could burn everything in the world. The precept of blood was monstrous. Wherever it passed, everything turned into blood. Even 5,000,000 miles away, the elites felt their blood boil. It was as if they were about to escape from their bodies. They were so frightened that they hurriedly used their powers to firmly seal their blood. At the same time, they frantically retreated. As for the precept of fire, it was violent and destructive. It could burn everything. The entire world was covered in flames. It seemed that even the precept of blood was about to be burned. Lin Xian struck out with the blazing Qilin sword. Dazzling light burst out from the long sword. It seemed to turn into a huge, blazing Qilin in his hand. The 13 green lotus swords, a sword to the heavens. Lin Xian waved the blazing Qilin sword. The precept of fire danced and turned into an eternal light. When the sword struck out, it could destroy the world. He struck out 13 streaks of sword qi in succession and collided with the 3,000 blood rivers. Between the heavens and the earth, terrifying energy surged. It was too terrifying. Everyone closed their eyes. They did not dare to watch. Some of the elites who had comprehended the way tried to force themselves to watch. As a result, their eyes bled and they screamed. Perhaps only the Qi family's patriarch and a few other half-saints were able to see this battle clearly. Chapter 3186. Boom! Boom! After the intense collision, the blood river was destroyed and the 13 swords created a vacuum. Lin Xian struck out with his sword again, and a fire Qilin charged towards Patriarch Shui Pao with blazing flames. Get lost! Ancestor Shui Pao roared. He was shocked. He did not expect his 3,000 long blades to be broken by Lin Fan. This made him furious. In the next moment, his blood river came crashing down as if it could destroy the world. It wanted to refine the fire Qilin alive. Roar! Lin Xian's great dragon sword soul roared, and the fire Qilin sword seemed to have come to life and turned into a divine beast. Buzz! The great dragon's sword soul exploded and a cold light flashed. Lin Xian's aura became terrifying again. With a roar, the long sword rushed out and smashed the blood palm, engulfing ancestor Xue Pao. The sword soul became an eternal immortal light, as if it had experienced countless years. There was an earth-shattering sound, and a figure flew out. Patriarch Xue Pao's body was smashed into smithereens, and his internal organs were all gone. The sword soul had injured him. With a boom, he flew out 3 million miles and smashed through the void. The blood of a half-saint fell and pierced through the blood plains. There were cries of ghosts and howls of wolves. It was a scene of destruction. What? Ancestor Xue Pao was injured? The Qi family patriarch and the others exclaimed. The others opened their eyes when they heard the news. Sure enough, the terrifying light had disappeared, and there was a huge crack in the sky. Ancestor Xue Pao's body was smashed, and he was terrified. Everyone was shocked when they saw the scene. Ancestor Xue Pao was injured. How could it be? They were about to go crazy. They had heard too many legends about Ancestor Xue Pao. It was said that he had killed 2 half-saints 500 years ago. Moreover, he had forced the other 2 half-saints to stay put. What a powerful and terrifying existence. 500 years later, the other party's strength would definitely rise to another level, reaching an inconceivable level. Therefore, they thought that Lin Wuti was no match for Ancestor Xue Pao. But now, after exchanging a few blows, Patriarch Xue Pao was pierced through by the sword. Although this sword strike wasn't enough to kill a half-sage, the impact of the strike was simply too shocking. This Lin Wuti was too terrifying. He was a young genius. Who would have thought that he could injure Patriarch Xue Pao? What kind of divine ability, law, did he cultivate? The law of fire. Furthermore, his sword also appeared to be extraordinary. It was actually able to transform the fire Qilin into something so realistic. That's not all. Why do I even hear a dragon's roar coming from his body? Exclamations rang out one after another. Even the patriarch of the Qi clan and the other half-saints were bewildered. There were simply too many secrets on Lin Xian. Brat, I didn't expect you to be able to injure me. Progenitor Xue Pao arrived from the rift 3 million li away. With every step Mei took, his body recovered a little. Very quickly, he recovered to his original state without a trace of damage. Not only that, but his aura was even more terrifying. I underestimated you. The law of fire, the roar of a dragon, and the Qilin sword. I didn't expect you to have so many Dharma treasures. To be able to achieve such accomplishments at such a young age, it's truly shocking both ancient and modern times. However, it's a pity that you're too arrogant. Of all things, you shouldn't have challenged me. You shouldn't have challenged me on the blood-refining planet. If this battle had been on the cloud-returning planet, you might have been able to survive. But now, on the blood-refining planet, you will die without a doubt. Having said that, Patriarch Xue Pao roared into the sky. 3,000 li of blood suddenly rushed into the blood-refining plains below. Powerful energy and endless crimson light filled the sky. What was going on? The surrounding people were stunned. Why didn't Patriarch Xue Pao attack Lin Wuti? Why did he attack the ground below? They couldn't figure it out. However, the faces of the other patriarchs and half-saints changed. Oh no, could the rumor be true? What rumor? Qi Siyu and the others were surprised. The Qi clan patriarch quickly retreated. Rumor had it that the blood-refining plains was not simple. It was a mass grave. In ancient times, an earth-shattering battle had taken place here. Hundreds of millions of lives had died here. Even half-saints had fallen here. Their blood fused with the land, causing the land to remain blood-red from the beginning to the end. It had never changed. It was said that the souls of hundreds of millions of lives had been suppressed in the blood-refining plains. They had thought it was just a rumor. But now, looking at Patriarch Shuapao, it seemed that the rumor was true. He wanted to activate the hundreds of millions of lives suppressed in the blood-refining plains. As he spoke, the Qi clan patriarch led Qi Siyu and the others a few million miles away. The other half-saints also retreated. They didn't dare to be careless. After all, the rumor was very terrifying. Within 5 million miles, only Patriarch Shuapao and Lin Xian were left. "Kid, it's time to taste the gift I've prepared for you." Patriarch Shuapao laughed. "Come out." 3,000 li of blood rushed into the sky, creating a black hole in the blood-refining plains. Countless roars came from below, making one's scalp tingle. Oh my God, what was that? Those who were watching the battle from afar were terrified. The sound of his laughter was simply too terrifying. Buzz! In the next moment, countless blood-red figures rushed out of the pitch-black hole. They all roared at the sky like demons. There were blood-red tubes on their bodies and blood-red runes between their eyebrows. Obviously, they were all controlled by Patriarch Shuapao. "Ha ha ha! Kid, do you think I didn't make any preparations when I chose to come to the blood-refining plains? Now you can die." Patriarch Shuapao formed a seal with his hands. Thousands of blood-red creatures rushed out crazily. These were vengeful spirits that had existed for countless years. They were really vicious. Even those who were close to Tao would be torn to shreds in an instant. Even a half-saint would die if surrounded by so many vengeful spirits. In an instant, Lin Xian was surrounded by countless vengeful spirits. The strong and cold aura wanted to tear him to pieces. How could mere vengeful spirits do anything to me? Lin Xian laughed. The flames on his body rushed to the sky and covered all the vengeful spirits. But it didn't work. The vengeful spirits had the law of blood on them. It shone and blocked the law of fire. In front of him, Patriarch Shuapao laughed. "Kid, these are not ordinary vengeful spirits. Under my control, your law of fire can't hurt them. Let's see how you can escape from these vengeful spirits." Chapter 30, 187. Modified. Oh no, Lin Wuti was in danger. Yes, no matter how strong he was, he could not fight against Patriarch Shuapao. His law of fire could at most resist the law of blood. But what about the vengeful spirits? He could not withstand it. If he was touched, he would be seriously injured and might be torn to pieces. Boom! 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 It was over. Everyone shook their heads and sighed. Even a sage-to-be could not withstand such an attack. Lin Wuti would definitely be torn to pieces. But soon they were stunned. Because of the collisions in the sky, the vengeful spirits came back screaming. They were torn to pieces, but Lin Xian was like a god of war. His body shone brightly and he was injured. He was not injured. What kind of body was that? These people were all stunned. The Qi family patriarch and the others were also shocked. This physique was too strong. It was more terrifying than an ordinary sage-to-be. Lin Xian roared and charged forward. Suddenly, countless vengeful spirits were sent flying. He sneered. Was that all? How ridiculous. Did you think these vengeful spirits could tear my body apart? Lin Xian's divine body shone brightly. It was very terrifying. He directly sent all the vengeful spirits flying. Damn it, get lost. Patriarch Shuapao roared and the vengeful spirits screamed. Suddenly, everyone's souls trembled as if they were about to be pierced. Oh no, it was a soul attack. These people were scared and retreated again. Your body is strong, but what about your soul? I don't believe that your soul can withstand these attacks. Now go to hell for me. Patriarch Shuapao smiled sinisterly again. Indeed, these vengeful spirits were very terrifying. Lin Wuti seemed to be a body cultivator, but his soul should not be too strong. His soul attack could definitely kill him in one move. On the opposite side, Lin Xian felt the collision of the vengeful spirits and sneered. Soul attack? Looks like you don't know what's good for you. His palms formed a seal, and a pair of golden eyes appeared in the sky. They were like the eyes of a god, with the law of fire looking down on the earth. Reincarnation! Lin Xian roared. The golden light in his eyes spun quickly, forming two golden vortexes that directly shrouded the vengeful spirits. The vengeful spirits screamed crazily. They were souls, but because of special reasons, they could not be reincarnated and were suppressed under the crimson plains. Now, after being shrouded by the golden light, they could not resist and were all swallowed. In an instant, the vengeful spirits that filled the sky. In the sky, the golden eyes shrouded in a mysterious light. Do you only have this little bit of ability? Lin Xian sneered. Damn it, that's impossible. How could it be so easily resolved? Patriarch Xue Pao was stunned. Was the other party's soul also so terrifying? Furthermore, what kind of eyes were those? Why was it that his soul was trembling as well? Those who were watching the battle from afar were extremely shocked. Ancestor Xue Pao was actually being suppressed. Was Patriarch Xue Pao going to lose? Thinking of this, their scalps went numb. If that was really the case, it would be an earth-shattering event. He was actually strong to such an extent. He Mo, Junwuya, and the others were shocked beyond words. The patriarch of the Qi clan and the other sage-to-be experts all looked solemn. This young man was incredible. Xue Pao, is this all you've got? Lin Xian's voice sounded from the front. Ancestor Xue Pao's face was extremely ugly. He then roared, Kid, don't be so arrogant. You underestimate me too much. You underestimate the Scarlet Plains too much. Do you think that's all there is? All right, next, I'll show you a true peerless divine ability. 3,000 Blood Demon Technique. Patriarch Xue Pao raised his head and roared. The law of blood swept out quickly. Behind him, 3,000 blood rivers rolled and twisted in the sky, forming 3,000 blood-colored demon kings. Every single one of them was capable of splitting the heavens and earth. The fragments of the law of blood in their bodies carried monstrous power. Kill! Patriarch Xue Pao roared, and the 3,000 blood devils behind him roared as well, shaking the 9 heavens and 10 lands. The terrifying murderous aura directly shattered the sky. Roar! On Lin Xian's side, a dragon's roar was heard, resisting the murderous aura that filled the sky. The two sound waves clashed in the sky. It was useless. Lin Xian snorted coldly. On the opposite side, Patriarch Xue Pao's palms formed another seal. Suck blood. 3,000 blood devils formation. In the distance, the martial artists screamed because many of them were instantly turned into dried corpses. Their blood gushed out crazily and gathered toward Patriarch Xue Pao. Not good. The power of the law fragments. Run. These people's scalps went numb, and they were scared out of their wits. They quickly ran away. Those who were slow to run were all deprived of blood. Junwuya, Yu Linglong, He Mo, and the others also looked pale. They quickly retreated. Under the power of the law fragments, they could not resist at all. Lin Xian also felt the blood in his body surging, as if it was about to burst out of his body. This was the power of the law. It was invisible and traceless. A saint could instantly kill billions of living beings. Even Lin Xian, who was a sage-to-be of the same level, was affected. But soon he shouted coldly, suppress it. The great dragon sword soul in his body roared and turned into a peerless sword light, directly destroying this power. He turned into a giant dragon and suppressed Lin Xian's body. Lin Xian's blood completely calmed down. Competing with the law? Then have a taste of my law of fire. A piercing cold light burst out from his eyes. Ah! Patriarch Xue Pao screamed. His body suddenly burned, and his blood boiled as if it was about to evaporate. Damn it! Patriarch Xue Pao roared and activated the law of blood. The two laws collided, and countless cracks appeared on Patriarch Xue Pao's body. Damn it, the 3,000 blood demon formation. Charge! Patriarch Xue Pao retreated into the distance, suppressed by the power. At the same time, he activated the 3,000 blood demon formation. But he was too shocked. Why did his law not hurt the other party, but was hurt by the other party's law? Could it be that the other party's law power was stronger than his? Damn it, how was this possible? He did not believe it. He had comprehended the law for thousands of years, but it was not as profound as the other parties. How would he know that Lin Xian had the great dragon's sword soul? That supreme power, coupled with the law of fire, was enough to destroy everything. At this moment, Lin Xian was facing the 3,000 blood demon formation. The flaming sword qi in his hand slashed in all directions. The law of fire danced in the sky. However, the 3,000 blood demon formation was extremely extraordinary. The 3,000 blood demons led the law of blood fragments to form a heaven and earth great formation. For a moment, it actually blocked Lin Xian's monstrous sword light. Not only that, it also charged towards Lin Xian quickly. The space where Lin Xian was completely enveloped by the blood-colored light. On the other side, Patriarch Xue Pao extinguished the flames on his body and flew over again. He saw Lin Xian surrounded by the 3,000 blood demons and laughed loudly. "Kid, how is it? Do you know how powerful my formation is now? Next, you will experience what despair is." Patriarch Xue Pao once again shot out a few blood-colored law of blood fragments into the blood demon formation. Buzz! The 3,000 blood demons roared towards the sky, and each of them bloomed with billions of rays of light. Chapter 3188. Modified Humph. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Sword qi and flames danced, suppressing the heavens and earth. Suddenly, the light of the 3,000 blood demons was suppressed. The monstrous flames even threatened to engulf the 3,000 blood demons. Seeing this, Patriarch Xue Pao's face turned cold again. He took out a blood-red heart and bit into it. Suddenly, his aura skyrocketed. In front of him, the 3,000 blood demons stretched out their arms and turned into rivers of blood, entangling the sword qi in the sky. The fiery light completely enveloped the sky. The sky was once again blood-red. Do you think my blood precept is that simple? Only depriving you of blood? You're too naive. Since I can't absorb your blood, I'll let it go berserk. From now on, you'll become a madman. After the 3,000 blood demons suppressed the flames in the sky, Patriarch Xue Pao charged toward Lin Xian again. This time, the blood precept directly enveloped Lin Xian. He did not absorb Lin Xian's blood. Instead, he made Lin Xian's blood go berserk. In the end, he completely lost his mind. Not good. Lin Wuti is in danger. Yes, I've seen this move before. At that time, Patriarch Xue Pao fought against a half-saint. That half-saint was sealed for 3 years before he recovered. I'm afraid Lin Wuti will not be able to stop it. Next, he will completely turn into a madman, more berserk than a beast. Hearing the words of a half-saint, the surrounding martial artists were shocked. Is Lin Wuti going to lose? Sure enough, he's too young. As a veteran half-saint, Patriarch Xue Pao's methods were powerful. He was also skilled in the application of precepts. This time, Lin Wuti was really going to be defeated. Lin Xian felt the berserk aura and his eyes turned red. He seemed to have become murderous and wanted to destroy everything in the world. However, it was not that easy to make him go berserk. After all, he was also a half-saint. Moreover, he was not an ordinary half-saint. Great Dragon Sword Spirit, destroy. The great Dragon Sword Spirit within Lin Fan's body roared crazily as it destroyed the berserk aura. The red glow in Lin Xian's eyes disappeared and turned back into golden runes. I have to say, you are indeed very strong, but it's a pity that you met me. Your nomological abilities are unable to affect me. Next, I will let you experience my true nomological mystical ability. Lin Xian sheathed his blazing Qilin sword. In the next moment, he shouted, "Sword, come!" Immediately, a flaming long sword appeared in his hand. This flaming long sword was completely formed from fragments of the law of fire. The light shone brightly, exuding a peerlessly violent and destructive aura. Instantly, the entire sky within a radius of a few million miles was enveloped by torrential flames. Tens of millions of miles away, everyone's expressions changed. What a terrifying law fragment! Why did it feel like the nomological fragments that Lin Wudi had comprehended were even more terrifying than Patriarch Xue Pao's? Impossible. Patriarch Xue Pao's expression finally changed. What he was most proud of was his law of blood. In his opinion, even if Lin Wudi was a half-saint, so what? Lin Wudi's comprehension of the law was too shallow and could not be compared to his. But now he realized that he was wrong. The aura that Lin Wudi's law of fire exuded was even more terrifying than his law of blood. Lin Wudi's comprehension of the law was actually above his? Impossible. Patriarch Xue Pao could not believe it. He waved his blood-red palms, covering the sky and earth, charging over with the power of the law. He had to stop Lin Wudi. Countless blood-red palms, carrying the law of fire, emitted a deafening sound. The law of fire's long sword trembled and countless sword lights surrounded it, destroying all the blood-red palms. There were even a few that pierced towards Patriarch Xue Pao, forcing him to dodge quickly. Damn it, how could it be so terrifying? Patriarch Xue Pao's expression was extremely cold. At this moment, Lin Xian's law of fire had formed a long sword and was held in his hand. Buzz! The great dragon sword soul roared, and billions of sword chi soared into the sky. This is my self-created law of fire, called Fire God Slash. Now have a taste of its might. Lin Xian waved the law of fire sword in his hand. As the sword fell, countless law fragments danced in the air, and between heaven and earth, flames surged. Other than that, no other scene could be seen. That trace of flame could easily kill a martial artist who was close to the Tao. Even a half-sage would be reduced to ashes. As expected, the eyelids of the Qi family patriarch and the other half-sages twitched. They felt a threat to their lives. This sword could not be resisted directly. Patriarch Xue Pao roared, "Do you think you're the only one who knows how to use the law of fire?" His palms twitched in the void, and with the movement of his palms, countless law of blood formed a blood-red longsword that emitted the same aura. Slash! With a slash of the sword, ghosts wailed and wolves howled. This was also a law of fire. The sword and saber collided in the sky, turning into an eternal light. Heaven and earth split open, and bolts of lightning fell as if a thunder tribulation had occurred. Looking at the vast and mighty lightning tribulation 8 million miles ahead, the spectating cultivators were all stunned. Was this the power of a half-sage? It was too terrifying. Even if all of them attacked together, they would not be able to resist at all and would be reduced to ashes in an instant. Had Lin Xian become so powerful? Even if he lost this time, there were probably not many people in the younger generation who could suppress him. Jun Wuya, Yu Linglong, and the others were extremely solemn. While they were still competing with the younger generation, Lin Xian was already able to contend with the older half-sages. He had even made Patriarch Xue Pao extremely embarrassed. Especially now, he had created his own law of fire. All of this was like a myth that they could only look up to. While everyone was stunned, the situation in front of them also changed. The blood-red light that filled the sky suddenly shattered, and the flame aura suddenly surged. It immediately enveloped Patriarch Xue Pao. "Damn it, block it for me." Patriarch Xue Pao roared. An illusion of a small world appeared on his body. The blood-red light inside was monstrous, as if it was a world of azura. This had already surpassed the king domain. It was a small world formed by Patriarch Shuapao. At this moment, as soon as the small world appeared, it completely enveloped Patriarch Shuapao, isolating him from all the flames outside. Kid, you underestimate me too much. Do you really think that I have cultivated for more than 1,000 years in vain? Now that my world has appeared, let's see how you are going to hurt me. Patriarch Shuapao's voice echoed in the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Hearing this, Lin Xian laughed. You are too ignorant. In this world, there are some people who you can't understand. Do you think your world is very powerful? Today, I will split it open for you. Lin Xian roared, and the dragon roar on his body soared into the sky. The great dragon sword soul transformed into thousands of rays of light that supported the law of fire. Suddenly, Lin Xian's law of fire sword shone brightly again, turning into a giant flame dragon that was millions of miles long and crazily fell. The dragon's head was ferocious and it roared. The dragon's scales were all condensed from law fragments, and the flames on its body instantly burned the void into nothingness. Chapter 30-189. Modify Whoosh. Patriarch Shuapao's small flame world started to burn. Not only that, cracks started to appear on it, and they were getting bigger and bigger. What? Lin Wuti could still increase his strength? How did he do it? Could it be that he still hasn't used his full strength? When the surrounding people saw this scene, they all went crazy. Do you think that your world of blood still has the right to be arrogant in front of my sword of law? Lin Xian was like a sword emperor walking on air. Patriarch Shuapao's face turned pale. His body began to tremble slightly. How could this be? The blood world that he was so proud of was split apart by Lin Xian. Suddenly, Patriarch Shuapao let out a sigh. I didn't expect you to have such strength. I'm really surprised. Seems like I've been in seclusion for so many years that I didn't know that a genius like you has appeared. Those who were watching the battle from afar were shocked when they heard Patriarch Shuapao's words. Was Patriarch Shuapao praising Lin Xian? But what was the situation now? Why would Patriarch Shuapao say something like that? But soon they understood. Patriarch Shuapao's words changed. You're strong, but it's impossible for you to defeat me. I didn't want to use some of my superpowers law. It's a forbidden technique. Once I use it, I'll be able to kill my opponent, but I'll be affected. It might even take me a few decades to recover. But today, I have no choice but to use it against you. Kid, you can be proud that you forced me to use my forbidden technique. Following Patriarch Shuapao's words, the 3,000 blood demons from all directions rushed towards Patriarch Shuapao. Buzz! Patriarch Shuapao's body suddenly grew taller, and he looked like a blood saint. His aura was also rapidly increasing, and he was actually suppressing Lin Xian's. Blood demons united. Patriarch Shuapao had refined the 3,000 blood demons, using the blood of countless experts and the law of blood over 1,000 years. Each of them was extremely powerful. Even Patriarch Shuapao didn't dare to absorb all 3,000 blood demons into his body. That was because, even though he could obtain great power, he would still be devoured by the blood demon. However, he couldn't care less about that now. As long as he could kill his opponent, it wouldn't matter even if he had to go into seclusion to recover for 100 years. It was all worth it. Blood Demon returns to origin. At this moment, Patriarch Shuapao stood tall in the heavens like a peerless blood demon king. Waving his hands, countless blood-colored runes shone in all directions, gradually covering the entire heavens and earth. From tens of millions of miles away, one would find that this was a blood-red ball of light that directly enveloped Lin Xian and Patriarch Shuapao. The area within a radius of 3 million miles had turned into a sealed space. Not good. After Patriarch Shuapao absorbed the 3,000 blood demons, the blood world became so big. Was he going to kill Lin Wuti by force? What? Are you saying that Lin Wuti has entered the world of blood? Several half-saints cried out in alarm. The Qi clan's patriarch's expression changed. The surrounding people were stunned. From the looks of it, Lin Wuti was once again in danger of being defeated or even killed. He actually still had a divine ability trump card. They had to admit that they had indeed underestimated him. But so what? Now it was over. In the face of Patriarch Xue Pao's last trump card, Lin Xian was not afraid. Once again, a second force appeared in his body. This was the power of annihilation. The power of annihilation had not yet formed the precept fragments, but after Lin Xian used the great dragon sword soul, it was different. The power of annihilation was very close to the precept fragments. This power of annihilation, coupled with the precept of fire, this made Lin Xian's sword of the precept even more powerful. Buzz! After a loud dragon roar, Lin Xian waved his arms, and with a boom, the heavens and earth cracked. It's useless. Be destroyed. World-destroying blood demon disc. Seeing that Lin Xian was going to attack again, Patriarch Xue Pao roared. His world of blood turned into a blood-red demonic disc, mercilessly crushing. He wanted to crush Lin Xian into a bloody mist. With a clang, Lin Xian's sword slashed on the blood-red demonic disc, and suddenly there was an earth-shattering sound. The blood-red demonic disc trembled slightly, but soon it crazily fell again. Useless, kid. You can't break it. Patriarch Xue Pao was very confident. If he couldn't break it with one sword, then what about 2 or 3? I don't believe that he won't break. Lin Xian's eyes burst with a piercing cold light, and his arms continued to wave. He slashed out 99 times in a row. Damn it, how is it possible? Patriarch Xue Pao's eyeballs almost fell out. Isn't this a divine ability? His opponent had already run out of power with one sword. How could he slash out 99 times? Won't his power be exhausted? Can his body bear it? He didn't know about any of this. He was now facing the terrifying attack of 99 swords. The sword Qi collided with the blood-red demonic disc and directly cut it into pieces. 30 sword Qi. Patriarch Xue Pao's world of blood shattered. Facing the remaining dozens of sword Qi, Patriarch Xue Pao's scalp exploded. No! He screamed, turned around, and fled. In the distance, the patriarch of the Qi family and the others were also stunned. What kind of divine ability was this? He had slashed out 99 swords of law in a row. How could he resist it? Patriarch Xue Pao might not be able to resist it at all. The other half-saints were also trembling. Patriarch Xue Pao tore the void crazily, but the remaining dozens of sword Qi firmly locked onto him. Eventually he was shrouded. No. Patriarch Xue Pao roared, and his body suddenly turned into endless blood mist, spreading in all directions. As a half-saint, he had many means of escape. Turning into mist was one of the most powerful means of escape. After turning into mist, his body became invisible. Ordinary attacks would not be able to harm him, even if some of it could be destroyed, so what? As long as a trace of mist escaped, Patriarch Xue Pao could reform his body. This was the advantage of being a half-saint. A real saint could be reborn with a drop of blood. Therefore, it was very difficult to kill a saint. Although Patriarch Xue Pao was not a real saint yet, as long as he had some blood mist to escape, he could be reborn. Damn you, kid, I will remember this. One day, I will kill you with my own hands. Patriarch Xue Pao's vicious voice sounded. His escape this time had greatly damaged his vitality. It would take him hundreds of years to recover, but he swore that when he became stronger, he would kill Lin Xian with his own hands. How dare you threaten me now? Do you think you can escape today? Lin Xian sneered. He floated in the void, formed a seal with his hands, and waved it in all directions. Chapter 3190. Buzz! The dozens of sword lights of the laws covered the sky and earth, forming a sword screen that enveloped the entire world. Lin Xian's eyes were cold. To be honest, other half-saints might not be able to do anything to Patriarch Xue Pao's escape. After all, Patriarch Xue Pao had turned into too much blood mist. It was impossible to destroy it in a short time. If Patriarch Xue Pao managed to escape, he might be reborn. However, it was impossible for Lin Xian to do so. Lin Xian was the descendant of the Great Dragon Sword. The Great Dragon Sword's soul could destroy everything in the world. A mere sky full of blood, mist was nothing in his eyes. Sure enough, the sword qi turned into a sea of swords that shrouded the blood mist. The next moment, Patriarch Xue Pao's miserable cry was heard. Ah! He screamed crazily because he found that the blood mist he had turned into was being destroyed at an alarming speed. None of it could escape. How is this possible? Patriarch Xue Pao was going crazy. How could his opponent have such a sharp sword light? Am I going to die here today? No. Patriarch Xue Pao screamed crazily. 2/3 of his blood mist had been destroyed. Only 1/3 was left. He felt his skin go numb and quickly said, "Stop! Stop fighting! You've won this battle. I admit defeat. Also, we'll write off our grudges." How about that? Hearing this, the martial artists who were watching the battle from afar were stunned. The ancestral patriarch of the Qi family and the half-saints gasped. Patriarch Xue Pao is begging for mercy and admitting defeat. This is unbelievable. They knew that Patriarch Xue Pao was a terrifying existence. They were no match for him in a one-on-one fight. However, such a powerful half-saint had been defeated by a young man. Now he was running for his life and even begging for mercy. If they had not seen it with their own eyes, they would not have believed it. It's useless. As I said before, this battle is not only about victory and defeat, but also about life and death. Lin Xian's cold voice was heard. Let him go? How is that possible? Patriarch Xue Pao was a vengeful and ruthless person. If Lin Xian let him go, he would definitely take the opportunity to come back. He would not allow such a scourge to live. Therefore, Lin Xian did not hold back. Did Lin Wuti really want to kill Patriarch Xue Pao? Heavens, is the semi-sage going to fall? The Qi family's ancestor and the others were shocked beyond words. Jun Wuya, He Mo, and the others were dumbfounded. The native warriors of Blood, Refining Planet, felt their scalps go numb. That was Ancestor Xue Pao, who was extremely famous in Blood, Refining Planet. But now they were actually facing the danger of being killed. It was really hard for them to imagine. Ancestor Xue Pao roared as if he had gone mad. Damn brat, you dare to attack me? No one answered him. What answered him was only the merciless sword light. Immediately, the 1/3 of blood was reduced by half. Ah, I'll fight it out with you. Patriarch Xue Pao knew that he couldn't escape. He let out a vicious voice. Damn brat, I'll take you down with me. He was truly in despair. He didn't expect that he would be killed here when he was at his peak. If he had known, he probably wouldn't have fought with the other party, even if he was beaten to death. But now it was too late. He couldn't escape by himself. Even if he asked other semi-sages for help, they probably wouldn't. First of all, their friendship was ordinary. Secondly, Lin Wuti was so young and powerful. His future was limitless. Who would dare to offend such a peerless genius? Therefore, no one would help him. However, Patriarch Xue Pao wouldn't let Lin Wuti have his way even if he died. He wanted to drag Lin Wuti down with him. Brat, I won't let you off. I'll let you be struck by lightning and your mind destroyed. I'll let you suffer the most terrifying lightning technique. This voice resounded between heaven and earth, making everyone's hair stand on end. Everyone was trembling in fear. The Qi family's ancestor and the other souls were also trembling. Lin Xian also frowned. In the next moment, he saw Patriarch Shui Pao's remaining blood quickly burn. In the red flames, Patriarch Shui Pao's soul was tumbling and twisting. At the same time, a thundercloud appeared in the sky. When it collided, thousands of lightning bolts appeared. The terrifying lightning aura made the Qi family's ancestors shudder in fear. Oh no, it's a curse. Patriarch Shui Pao had really gone mad. He gave up on reincarnation and fell into eternal darkness to curse Lin Wuti. It's over. Lin Wuti won't be able to survive. Next, there would be an apocalyptic lightning tribulation. The Qi family's ancestor and the others quickly retreated. When the surrounding martial artists heard this, their scalps went numb and they ran for their lives. They knew that Patriarch Shui Pao would die without a doubt. Lin Xian would most likely be killed by the lightning tribulation. Curse? Lin Xian frowned. This was the first time he had seen such an attack. Through his heavenly secret divine eyes, he could see that Patriarch Shui Pao's blood was burning. His soul seemed to be pulled into an unknown world. At the same time, he sensed that he was being watched by a mysterious and strange power. This power made his body dim and his qi and blood wither. At the same time, his heart was pounding. Above his head, lightning flashed, and the light seemed to destroy the world. This aura was no weaker than the lightning tribulation when he became a sage-to-be. It was even stronger. Boom! In the next moment, countless lightning tribulations fell, piercing through the void and completely enveloping the world. Lin Xian was also engulfed. 1 day, 2 days, the cursed lightning tribulation continued. The space within millions of miles was shattered and turned into a chaotic void. The Qi family's ancestor and the others had already retreated 30 million miles away. They looked at the apocalyptic scene in front of them and their hearts pounded. It's over. Lin Wuti won't be able to escape. Yes, even a sage-to-be would be killed. Moreover, he was enveloped by the power of the curse. The lightning tribulation would never let him go. Several sage-to-be shook their heads. At the same time, some sage-to-be lamented. It was a pity that such a peerless genius had become a sage-to-be at such a young age. His future was limitless. He was too young and impetuous. He shouldn't have pushed Patriarch Shui Pao so hard. Otherwise, he wouldn't have died if he didn't kill Shui Pao. Lin Gongzi. Qi Siyu's face was full of anxiety and despair. In the distance, Jun Wuya, Ling Long, Hei Mo, and the others were also in disbelief. Lin Xian was destroyed by the lightning tribulation. Was he dead? Why did it all seem like a dream? Soon, the black demon revealed a cold smile. Humph, what a surprise. He didn't expect that a sage-to-be would die. The other sage-to-be prodigies also said coldly, I admit that Lin Wuti is powerful, but he's already history. Only a living genius is a genius. What was dead was nothing at all. From now on, Lin Wuti would no longer exist. Chapter 30, 191. They all breathed a sigh of relief. This was because a young half-saint was giving them too much pressure. Now they were all dead. In this way, they had one less opponent to compete with. However, most of the older generation still looked regretful. After all, they were no longer destined to be great emperors. If they could see the rise of a young great emperor in their lifetime, they would be very happy. In today's battle, they had witnessed the rise of a young great emperor, but they did not expect that in the end, there would still be an accident. Patriarch Shui Pao's soul fell into eternal darkness, and he released a half-saint curse, attracting a peerless heavenly tribulation. Lin Wuti might not be able to deal with such power. Not necessarily. Lin Wuti was very strong. Especially Yu Linglong and the others knew that Lin Xian was the successor of the great dragon, the successor of the 9 sons. His physique was very strong and his attack was very strong. Perhaps he could survive. But 10 days passed, 20 days passed, and they were in despair. After a month, they were ready to leave, because the lightning tribulation was still in front of them, and Lin Xian's figure still did not appear. "Forget it, let's go. That kid can't be resurrected." Indeed, the power of the curse had not disappeared, and the lightning tribulation had not dissipated. Once it dissipated, everything would vanish, and that kid would probably be destroyed in body and soul. The half-saints shook their heads and left. The other experts, elders, big families, and sacred grounds all left one after another. Jun Nguya, Yu Linglong, and the others also left. "Let's go." Seven Lights returned to its coldness and left with Pluto and the others. In the end, everyone left. In the vast lightning tribulation, Lin Xian's body was surrounded by the law of fire, resisting the lightning. The great dragon sword soul in his body roared, and at the same time there was a black rune on his body that was jumping, and the aura was becoming more and more terrifying. This aura was the aura of annihilation. Although the lightning tribulation was powerful, Lin Xian relied on many abhijnas and his strong body. These lightning tribulations could not hurt him at all. Not only that, Lin Xian seemed to be still cultivating. However, from the looks of it, he wouldn't be waking up anytime soon. Tens of millions of miles of space was filled with lightning tribulations, so it was impossible for anyone to come in. It was impossible for anyone to know about Lin Xian's current situation. In the outside world, it had been a month since the final battle between the half-saints on the Scarlet Plain. In the past month, news of Lin Wudi and Patriarch Shuat Pao had swept through many worlds. Everyone was amazed by Lin Xian's strength, but at the same time they felt it was a pity. This was because Lin Xian had already died in the lightning tribulation. The curse of a half-step saint was extremely terrifying. It was likely that the other party would not be able to survive. Just as someone said, dead geniuses were nothing. Only living geniuses were true geniuses. Thus, the crowd only treated this battle as history. The commotion caused by this battle gradually died down. At the same time, another piece of news came, causing everyone to stop talking. The battle between half-sages had turned completely silent. Falling into the abyss, there was a problem. In the starry sky of the universe, there were many worlds that were very famous. For example, the blood refining star was a very terrifying place for training. Most of them were ferocious experts. There was also a world called the falling star. There was a falling abyss inside, which was extremely terrifying. It was said that the demonic aura was monstrous and ghostly. It was extremely terrifying. Rumor had it that it was an ancient battlefield where hundreds of millions of creatures once fought. There were even peerless experts who had fallen there. It was a very terrifying place. It could be said to be a place of great danger. However, there were still countless people who wanted to fall into the abyss. Even the patriarch of the Qi family was injured when he fell into the abyss 300 years ago. Because of the monstrous, ghostly aura and demonic aura in the abyss, people who cultivated this kind of cultivation technique generally liked to stay there. They could get twice the results with half the effort. Moreover, there were also people who liked to challenge themselves there to break through bottlenecks. There was even a rumor that there was a huge treasure trove in the abyss, which contained endless secrets. As long as one could enter the treasure trove and obtain the treasures inside, one could become a saint and transcend heaven and earth. Becoming a saint was such a great temptation. One had to know that although many people hoped to become a great emperor, becoming a great emperor was too illusory. Countless saints and super saints could not become a great emperor, so most people only dreamed about it. However, saints were different. To them, saints were closer to becoming a great emperor. Moreover, especially those who had comprehended the nearing path and were already half-saints, as long as they took another step forward, they would immediately become saints. Their strength would undergo earth-shaking changes, and their lifespan would also increase exponentially. This was the most attractive thing to them. Therefore, countless experts rushed to the abyss like ducks. The changes in the abyss directly attracted the attention of these people. In an instant, the news spread everywhere. Quite a few star realms had received the news. The nearing path warriors and half-saints were all eager to make a move. The Qi family. Their territory and influence had expanded a lot compared to before, and this was all thanks to the Qi family's patriarch. At this moment, the Qi family's patriarch was sitting high in the main hall. When he received the news from the outer realm, he suddenly stood up. Really? There's a change. Patriarch? What's going on? Below him, the elders and powerhouses of the Qi family were also puzzled. It was rare for them to see their patriarch so agitated. There was a new change in the abyss. There was a chaotic aura and multicolored light inside. This was a sign of the birth of a rare treasure. What? When the elders and powerhouses below heard this, they were extremely shocked. They knew that the abyss was filled with demonic qi, ghostly qi, and all kinds of cold aura. But now, there was a chaotic aura and multicolored light. Under normal circumstances, such things would not appear in the abyss. Could it be that the rumors were true? That there was really a huge treasure trove in the abyss? At this moment, the treasure trove had opened. Was that why the multicolored light and chaotic aura had appeared? Everyone discussed animatedly. The Qi family's patriarch laughed. That's right. It seems that there's a secret in the abyss. Patriarch, what should we do? Should we go? The Qi family's elder raised his head and asked. Qi Siyu, who was beside him, also looked nervous. After all, 300 years ago, their patriarch was injured because he went to the abyss. From then on, he could not recover from the setback and even almost died. If it were not for Lin Xian, their patriarch would probably have died by now. Of course I have to go. Don't worry, I didn't spend the past 300 years in vain. I've already found a way to resist the Yin demons. This time, I definitely won't be injured in the abyss. Chapter 3192. The Qi family patriarch's eyes flickered. He had been a half-saint for a long time and had been stuck in the half-saint realm for a long time. Although he had recovered, he could only live for another 1,000 years. However, could he break through and become a true saint in the next 1,000 years? To be honest, the Qi family patriarch was not confident at all. He had estimated that even if there was a chance, the chances of success were less than 10%. A half-saint and a saint seemed similar, but the difference between them was too great. The difference was like heaven and earth. A saint was an existence that transcended heaven and earth and could no longer be called human. Becoming a saint was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Now that he had fallen into the abyss and there were abnormal changes, the Qi family patriarch had to make a trip no matter what. When the others heard this, they hurriedly made preparations to provide the patriarch with all the resources he could. On the cloud-returning planet, all the major families and top sacred grounds were making preparations. Even the elites and half-saints in the blood-refining planet, the hero planet, the Sirius planet, and the surrounding planets were making preparations. On the blood-refining planet, the Crimson Plains. At this moment, millions of miles of space was still enveloped by an endless sea of lightning. The violent aura made it so that there was no one in the surrounding 30 million miles. It could be said that this place had become a forbidden area and no one would come here. However, on this day, in the endless sea of lightning, a young figure stood up. Lin Xian opened his eyes. Terrifying fragments of the law of fire appeared on his body and danced in the air. In addition, there were some mysterious black runes that were also law fragments. He had succeeded. Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. When he had killed Patriarch Shuapao, he had received a curse from Patriarch Shuapao and attracted a lightning tribulation. However, Lin Xian had not died in the lightning tribulation. Instead, he had withstood it. At the same time, he had also used the lightning tribulation to cultivate the power of annihilation. Finally, he had cultivated the power of annihilation into a law of annihilation fragment. Now that Lin Xian had comprehended 2 types of nomological law fragments, his strength had increased exponentially once again. If he were to fight with Patriarch Shuapao now, he would probably be able to kill him within 50 moves. Moreover, he would not give Patriarch Xue Pao a chance to curse him. It should be about time for the lightning tribulation to disappear, right? Lin Xian looked up at the sky. Suddenly he frowned. Wait, what was going on? Could it be that the power of the curse had not disappeared? Lin Xian realized that the lightning tribulation around him had not weakened. Instead, it had become more and more violent and seemed to engulf the entire world. That's impossible. After such a long time, even if it's a half-saint level curse, it should have dissipated. What was going on? Just as he was feeling puzzled, a red figure suddenly rushed out of the black earth. Following that, roars filled the sky. Ah! Ha 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 ha! Ha ha! Little brat, get a little further away. I'm about to undergo tribulation. As soon as the dark red dragon came out, it roared loudly. However, in the next moment, he was also stunned. Oh my God, what's going on? The crimson dragon looked around. Between heaven and earth, there was a vast sea of lightning. But that wasn't right. He had just triggered the heavenly tribulation, so it would probably take a while for it to arrive. Why did this lightning tribulation seem to have appeared for a long time? The crimson dragon was puzzled, but Lin Xian understood in an instant. It turned out that the sudden increase in thunder aura was not the power of the curse, but the heavenly tribulation caused by the crimson dragon's breakthrough. Rizalong, don't think too much. I was the one who attracted this sea of lightning. But now it's up to you. With that, Lin Xian waved his hand with a smile and flew off into the distance. F***CK, brat, don't screw me over. There's already a sea of lightning, and now there's a lightning tribulation. Do you want Ben Huang to pass the trial of life and death? The dark rainbow divine dragon kept roaring. He was extremely depressed. However, in the next moment, endless lightning fell from the sky and enveloped the crimson dragon. 2 months later, the lightning finally disappeared. The crimson dragon's body was charred black, and black smoke was rising from his body. He flew over shakily. F***CK, it hurts. It seemed that he should have survived the lightning tribulation. Lin Xian flew over. You've become a half-sage. You're not slow either. He was extremely surprised because he found that the crimson dragon was also a half-sage now. He, of course. Brat, fight with Ben Huang. The crimson dragon's body shook, and the black smoke on his body disappeared instantly. With a wave of his dragon claw, endless fragments of the law of thunder rushed over, forming a violent lightning bolt that rushed out. Haha, good one. Lin Xian controlled the fragments of the law of fire and rushed up to fight with him. The two of them exchanged blows, and it was earth-shattering. Fortunately, there was no one within a radius of 30 million miles. Otherwise, they would definitely be scared out of their wits. 10 days later, the crimson dragon muttered in dissatisfaction. Damn it, I'm not fighting anymore. You've mastered 2 fragments of the law of fire. And your physique, how can it be so strong? Your dragon sword soul has also improved, right? The crimson dragon was very depressed because he found that he couldn't beat his opponent. To be exact, the two of them were evenly matched. That was incredible. This time, he used the great inheritance of the dragon clan to directly break through to the half-sage realm, and his strength had greatly improved. In his opinion, he should have surpassed Lin Xian. He originally planned to torture this brat well this time, but he found that he couldn't do it. His opponent's growth speed was beyond his expectations. He was not slower than him at all, and even a little faster than him. On the other side, Lin Xian withdrew his hand, and he was also very shocked. The Crimson Dragon's cultivation had reached the half-sage realm, and he had also comprehended 2 fragments of the law of fire, the law of thunder and the law of water. In addition, his opponent was from the Divine Dragon clan, and his physique was not weaker than his divine body. It could be said that the Crimson Dragon's strength was on par with his. This made Lin Xian shocked and happy at the same time. With such a powerful companion by her side, Not many people would dare to provoke her in the future. The little white monkey also jumped out and looked at the crimson dragon, waving its little paws. "Why, little one, do you want to fight me too?" "Forget it. You'd better go treasure hunting." The crimson dragon shook his head and didn't fight with the little white monkey. This caused Xiaobai to puff up in anger. Lin Xian grabbed Little White and rubbed it in his arms. Then he asked, "Your talent is too strong. You should be equivalent to the Dragon Crown Prince in the Dragon Clan, right?" He was probably the only one who could keep up with this speed of improvement. The other geniuses might not be able to keep up. However, the Crimson Dragon shook his head. "No, I'm not at the Dragon Crown Prince level. Kid, you underestimate the Dragon Clan too much. As far as I know, the real Dragon Crown Prince, the son of the great emperor, should be at the Sage Realm when he was born. For example, the one in the nest of 10,000 dragons should be very powerful now." Chapter 30, 193. What? The Dragon Prince was a saint when he was born. Lin Xian was extremely shocked, and his expression became grave. This was the first time he had heard such news. Previously, when the true spirit world was in chaos, countless Archean kings and saints had appeared. However, the Dragon Prince, the Qilin Prince, and the Princess of the Phoenix Clan had not appeared. However, it was rumored that the three of them had all recovered. Didn't this mean that they were already saints from the moment they repeatedly lost? Then, what level had the three of them reached now? They should be very powerful among the saints. Lin Xian took a deep breath. It seems that my path of cultivation is still very long. Lin Xian felt a trace of pressure. He had to become a saint as soon as possible, or at least have the strength to contend with a saint. Kid, don't be discouraged. After all, the son of a great emperor has inherited the great emperor's bloodline, and it is the purest great emperor's bloodline. Their strength is naturally very strong. Your current speed is already very heaven-defying. If this continues, your future achievements will not be weaker than theirs," the Crimson Dragon said. Lin Xian nodded. Although he was shocked, he was not afraid. After all, the reason he had taken the title Linwudi was that he was determined to be invincible in the world. "Let's go." Waving his hand, Lin Xian, the Snow White Marquis, and the Crimson Dragon set off again. After flying for a few days, Lin Xian frowned. He sensed that there were several powerful auras on the blood-refining planet, and they were quickly flying into the outer realm. What's going on? Those people should be half-saints, right? The Crimson Dragon was also puzzled. Logically speaking, half-saints should not appear in such a concentrated manner. Something must have happened. Could it be that there was a war in the outer realm? Hearing this, Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. Perhaps it was really possible. After all, when he and Patriarch Xue Pao fought before, many saints had come to watch the battle. Now that these sages had gone to the outer realms, there might really be some geniuses fighting there. The two of them soared into the sky. The snow-white little monkey lay on Lin Xian's shoulder, yawning in boredom and squinting its big eyes. It didn't take long for them to arrive at the outer realm. Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon brandished their law fragments to resist the foreign aura. They stood in the starry sky and looked into the distance. Then they frowned. There was no great battle. The half-saints boarded a special spirit boat and flew into the distance. What's going on? The two of them frowned and looked at each other. Let's continue to follow them. Lin Xian also took out his spirit boat. It wasn't the Black Earth, but the spirit boat that the mountain-gazing peak lord had given him. Let's go. The group boarded the spirit boat and flew over quickly. In the silent and cold universe, several rays of light streaked across one after another. One of them was a red spirit boat. It was very majestic, like a running lion. It was surrounded by flowing light and looked extraordinarily mighty. At this moment, a middle-aged man in the spirit boat opened his eyes and frowned. "Humph, how dare you follow us?" "Master, let your disciple do it." At this moment, a figure walked over and said respectfully. This scene was very strange because the person who called himself his disciple was a white-haired old man. Sitting there was a young and mighty middle-aged man. However, this was normal in the cultivation world, because the middle-aged man was a half-saint, and the white-haired old man was only a warrior who had comprehended something close to Tao. "Master, let me go too." At this moment, another young man walked out. "All right, the two of you go out and see who dares to follow me." The old man and the young man left the spirit boat in a flash. In the next moment, they appeared in the endless cold universe. There was a silver pagoda above their heads. Its aura hung down and shrouded the two of them. It was a half-saint weapon. The half-saint runes on it shone brightly, allowing them to float in the cold universe. The corners of the black-robed youth's mouth curled into a sneer as he looked at the spirit boat that was flying towards him from behind. He gathered all his strength and slashed out with his sword. A ray of sword radiance shot up into the sky and slashed forward. It was like a rainbow illuminating the surroundings. With a boom, the sword slashed the spirit boat behind them. Immediately, a shocking storm was set off. The spirit boat behind them trembled violently. In the spirit boat, Lin Xian opened his eyes. There was a biting cold light in his eyes. The crimson dragon beside him jumped up. "Damn, who dares to attack us?" The little white monkey waved its little paws in protest. It was very dissatisfied. "Let this emperor take a look at which reckless person actually dares to attack us." The crimson dragon waved its claws and controlled the array. The scene outside appeared on the light screen in front of them. In the cold darkness of the universe, two figures stood there. There was a silver pagoda above their heads. They were like war gods, blocking their way. The long sword in the young man's hand was emitting a biting cold light. Obviously, it was the other party who had attacked. In the distance, there was a spirit boat floating. Seeing this scene, the crimson dragon was furious. "Damn it, it's the spirit boat we were following. It seems that they have discovered us. So what if they have discovered us? How dare they attack us? Let's go out and have a look." Lin Xian left the spirit boat in a flash. The crimson dragon snorted and also came out with a swing of its tail. In the next moment, the two of them walked out. In front of them, the white-haired old man and the young man in black sneered when they saw Lin Xian and the crimson dragon come out. "Whose disciples are you? How dare you follow us? How reckless!" The white-haired old man snorted. The young man in black next to him said, "Senior brother, don't talk nonsense with them. They're just two reckless guys. How dare they follow us secretly? Just kill them. Their spirit boat is not bad. After killing them, I'll report to Master and ask him to reward me with this spirit boat." His words made Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon's faces darken. This kid is not young, but he's quite arrogant. He's so cruel at such a young age. He'll be a scourge in the future. Why don't I help your master clean up the sect today? The Crimson Dragon walked out. Lin Xian stood with his hands behind his back. He could tell at a glance that the two people in front of him were only martial artists who had almost comprehended the Tao. Compared to them, they were far inferior. The Crimson Dragon could easily get rid of them. "Damn it, where did this snake come from? You're courting death." The young man in black was furious and attacked with a sword again. The sword chi and murderous intent surged, shattering the void. However, the Crimson Dragon was disdainful. "How dare you be so arrogant in front of me when you've only comprehended the power of the Tao?" In the face of this shocking attack, the Crimson Dragon did not dodge. It opened its bloody mouth and sucked the sword chi into its stomach. Then it pouted. "Is that all you've got? What? How is that possible?" The young man in front was stunned. Chapter 30, 194. That sword contained the power of Tao. Martial artists of the same level would not dare to block it. but the snake in front of them swallowed it? Moreover, it was completely fine. What kind of person was that? The white-haired old man's eyelids twitched wildly. Junior brother, come back quickly. This snake is not simple. Snake my ass. Ben Huang is a dragon, and a divine dragon. The crimson dragon swung its tail and appeared in front of the two in an instant. With a slap, a claw struck out, and the two of them were slapped. Half of their faces and half of their bodies turned into a bloody mist. Their broken bodies flew into the distance. Bang! Ah! The young man in black screamed as if he had gone crazy. Damn snake, how dare you kill me? I'll kill you. I'll definitely kill you. Bang! His body shattered again. On the other side, the white-haired old man's pupils constricted. Oh no! This power had completely surpassed theirs. Could it be that this was a demi-saint level beast? Thinking of this, he quickly sent a voice transmission. Master, they could not fight against such a figure. In fact, there was no need for them to send a voice transmission. A middle-aged man walked out of the spirit boat in the distance. He took a step forward and arrived beside the two in an instant. With a wave of his sleeve, the two's bodies recovered. Thank you, master. The white-haired old man stood up and stood respectfully behind the middle-aged man. The young man in black next to him gritted his teeth and said, Master, avenge me. You must kill them. Tear them into pieces. Which force are you from? The middle-aged man in front frowned and asked. He was a demi-saint. He could naturally feel the shocking power of the Crimson Dragon. That was the fragment of the Law of Thunder. You're their master? Your two disciples are too reckless. How dare they provoke me? Old man, tell me, how are you going to compensate Ben Huang? The Crimson Dragon said coldly, You're courting death. The middle-aged man was furious. So what if the other party was a demi-saint? He was also a demi-saint. You're a demon who brought disaster to the human world. Today I'll get rid of you. Buzz. The middle-aged man stretched out his palm. His large palm seemed to have transformed into a long saber, slicing through the void. On his palm, law fragments danced, and a terrifying law power swept through the world. Humph! Do you think I'm scared of you? The Crimson Dragon rushed up and used the Law of Thunder to fight. The two of them fought an earth-shattering battle, and neither of them was able to determine the victor. Damn it! How is this possible? How could this demonic dragon be so powerful? In the distance, the white-haired old man and the black-clothed youth watched with trepidation. Their master was a half-saint who had been famous for hundreds of years. How could he not be able to do anything to the other party? This was simply too unbelievable. On the other side, Lin Xian was extremely calm because he knew that the Crimson Dragon would definitely win this battle. This was because the Crimson Dragon had another type of law fragment. Sure enough, the Crimson Dragon used the Law of Water fragment and sent the middle-aged half-saint flying. The middle-aged half-step saint coughed up blood and flew backward. His body was shattered, and his face was extremely ugly. Two types of law powers. Who are you? Who am I? Hee hee, you can call me Lord Dragon Emperor. The Crimson Dragon sneered. Tell me, how are you going to compensate Ben Huang now? The middle-aged man hurriedly swallowed an elixir and mobilized the law powers to repair his body. The next moment he waved his hand and directly grabbed his two disciples in the distance. Then, with a kick, he broke their legs. At the same time, a cold voice was heard. How dare you offend a half-saint? Hurry up and kowtow and apologize. The white-haired old man and the black-clothed youth's faces immediately became extremely distorted. However, they did not dare to resist at all. They hurriedly knelt in the void and kept kowtowing. Lord Dragon Emperor, we were wrong. Lord Dragon Emperor, please spare our lives. At the same time, the middle-aged half-saint took out a white jade bottle and said, There are 10 demonic cores of demon kings in it. Please don't refuse. The Crimson Dragon raised its eyebrows and directly waved its dragon claw. Then it said casually, "All right, Ben Huang will spare your lives this time." Hearing this, the white-haired old man and the black-clothed youth who were kneeling on the ground breathed a sigh of relief. At this moment, Lin Xian walked over from the distance. He looked at the middle-aged man in front of him and asked coldly, "Let me ask you, where are you going with so many half-saints? Who is this person?" When the middle-aged man saw a young man walking over, he immediately frowned. He admired the crimson dragon in front of him, but it did not mean that anyone could ask him questions. However, when he saw that the crimson dragon and the young man in front of him were friends, the middle-aged man was stunned. Could it be that he was also a half-saint? Heavens, isn't he too young? No, maybe an old monster deliberately disguised himself as a young man. He also knew that some old monsters at the half-saint level always liked to disguise themselves as young people. This person might be one of them. The middle-aged man took a deep breath and said, "You two don't know?" Lin Xian shook his head. "We too just came out of seclusion and don't know what happened. It was like this. Something happened when they fell into the abyss, which attracted countless geniuses and half-step saints to go there." "Oh, falling into the abyss?" Lin Xian raised his eyebrows. This was a very famous place. He had heard of it more than once. It was not inferior to the blood refining planet. Moreover, it seemed that the Qi family patriarch's injury was caused by falling into the abyss. I will tell you the details later. Why don't the two of you take a seat in my spirit boat? What do you think? That would be good. Lin Xian nodded and waved his hand to put away his spirit boat. Then he and the crimson dragon flew forward together. Soon, everyone gathered in the middle-aged man's spirit boat. The spirit boat flew quickly again. Inside, Lin Xian, the crimson dragon, and the middle-aged man sat facing each other. Snow White Marquis hugged a large wine gourd and drank non-stop. The white-haired old man and the black-clothed youth respectfully stood aside and poured tea for Lin Xian and the other two from time to time. The middle-aged man was called Jin Yuanzi, and he was a half-saint. At this moment, he had already told them about falling into the abyss. Lin Xian was very surprised. There was such a rumor about falling into the abyss, and such a scene had appeared. No wonder these half-saints wanted to go there. It turned out that there was the secret to becoming a saint. Next to him, the crimson dragon's eyes lit up. "Boy, this is a great opportunity for us. We must not miss it." Lin Xian nodded. He had the same idea. After all, he knew that the Dragon Crown Prince and the Qilin Crown Prince were born saints. If he wanted to compete on the path of the Great Emperor, he had to reach the saint realm as soon as possible. "Don't worry, I am going to the abyss this time. However, there is still some time before I fall into the abyss. It will take about a month. During this time, why don't we exchange pointers?" "That's good too." Next, the three of them exchanged their own nomological fragments and discussed together. For these cultivators, a month's time passed very quickly. On this day, the three of them stopped discussing and stood up. Jin Yuanzi looked outside and said with a smile, they had arrived at the falling planet. Sure enough, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon were also on the formation and saw the scene outside. Chapter 30:195. Below them was a gray star world with a huge crack that occupied half of the entire star world, as if it was going to split the whole world in half. Lin Xian had seen such a scene before on the Dark Star. At that time, there was also a huge canyon on the Dark Star. It was said that it was split open by a sage. How did the falling abyss form? Was it formed naturally, or was it split open by someone? However, the falling star was much bigger than the dark star that Lin Xian had been to before. The huge crack in the falling abyss was also much bigger. At this moment, it looked like a black dragon was entrenched in the void. It was very terrifying. Buzz! The spirit boat rushed down quickly, rushing through countless astral winds, and finally arrived at the falling star. The falling star was completely different from the returning star, and the true spirit world. The whole world was gray. It was gray and gloomy, and there was a gloomy aura everywhere, as if it could freeze people into popsicles. It was not only for the body, but also for the soul. Sure enough, it was a dangerous place. Lin Xian frowned when he felt the aura. It seemed that this place was more dangerous than he had imagined. Let's go and set off towards the falling abyss. Jin Yuanzi waved his hand, and the spirit boat quickly streaked across the void. Below, some martial artists frowned when they saw this. It was another spirit boat. It was another person from the outer realm. How many people had there been? Why were there so many people here? The skin of these warriors was gray, and the aura on their bodies was extremely gloomy, as if they were devils. However, they were not devils, but native warriors of the falling star. They had been absorbing the gloomy demonic aura of the falling star all year round, which was why their aura was so gloomy. Another person said, it was caused by the falling abyss. Even ghosts would know that there were treasures in there. However, our cultivations are too weak. Yes, without a half-step sage leading the way, it was impossible to enter. The last person snorted coldly. These hateful extraterrestrial warriors. Just wait, they will all fall here. Do you think that the falling abyss is so easy to enter? They reckoned that if they went in, they would most likely die. The spirit boat continued to fly in the sky and finally arrived at the edge of the falling abyss. The evil Qi and ghost Qi here were very strong, so Gold Yuanzi had to stop. He looked at Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon and said, You too, the falling abyss is right in front of us. I still have some old friends to meet, so I can accompany you too. Don't worry, we just happen to want to look for it alone. Lin Xian bid farewell to Jin Yuanzi and left Lin Zhou with the Crimson Dragon. As soon as they came out, they felt a cold and gloomy aura sweeping toward them. However, these two people were both experts. With a cold snort, a powerful force shook off the aura. Then, Lin Xian's eyes flickered as he looked around. Although the surrounding aura was dangerous, he could still see that under the gray sky, there were many figures flashing about. Every one of them was very strong. Even the weakest of them was a martial artist who had comprehended something close to the Tao. However, he had yet to see a half-saint. It should be in the deepest part. Let's go and have a look. Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon set off in a flash. After half a day, the two stopped. There were many people in front of them. They were all young men and women with outstanding talents. The powerful aura they emitted was close to the Tao. This was a group of young geniuses, and there were many of them. It should be the geniuses of the nearby star worlds and the extraterritorial realm gathered here. Buzz! When Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon landed, they found that there were not only humans, but also other 10,000 Archean races. They wondered if they were from the true spirit world or other star worlds. Their arrival naturally attracted the attention of the people in front of them. However, they didn't pay much attention to them after a glance. Firstly, Lin Xian's face was very unfamiliar. They didn't recognize him. Secondly, they didn't sense any terrifying aura from Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon. However, in their opinion, since the two of them were able to come here, they either had some strength or some status. However, that was all. Who here wasn't a young genius? Who wasn't a person of status? Therefore, the people in front of them didn't pay much attention to them at all. They were still discussing among themselves. In front of them, there was a huge open space. A formation had formed an arena. There was a battle going on in the arena at the moment. One was a puppet that was completely black, like a machine. The other was a young genius. Even though that young genius had managed to comprehend a power that was close to the Tao, he was still suppressed by the black puppet and eventually lost. This scene caused Lin Xian to be astonished. This puppet was not ordinary. The dark red divine dragon's eyes gleamed as he said, "That's true. When I was inside, I felt a strong force and a special array. This should be a puppet passed down from ancient times. It was very likely that this puppet was the one that fell into the abyss. This puppet was very strong. It was close to the half-sage level. Even a genius close to the Tao couldn't defeat it. Lin Xian was extremely surprised. A half-sage puppet was definitely extremely precious. If he had 2 more puppets by his side, he could do whatever he wanted in the circle of half-sages. In front of them, the young genius was defeated. At this moment, another man walked up. He was wearing a Taoist robe and his body was shining brightly as he said with a smile, "Who else wants to give it a try? Just give me 100 magnificent heaven pills. You'll have a chance to fight with this puppet." You have to know that this puppet is not ordinary. It's very close to the half-sage level. If you can fight with it, you'll definitely benefit a lot. 100 magnificent heaven pills. Lin Xian also knew about the magnificent heaven pills. He had taken them before. It was a kind of spiritual medicine that was used for cultivation. It was better than a 9th grade king-level pill, but it hadn't reached the level of a half-sage pill. However, for these martial artists who were close to the Tao, cultivation was very useful. Some of them had even taken the magnificent heaven pills for half their lives. It could be said that the magnificent heaven pills were not ordinary pills. They were more precious. Taking out 100 of them at once could be said to be an amazing price. However, it was just a chance to fight. It had to be said that the young man in the Taoist robe in front of them really knew how to do business. However, it was very rare to be able to fight with such a powerful puppet without any danger to one's life. Therefore, very soon, another genius came up. Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon walked over. The Crimson Dragon said with a frown, "This puppet should have fallen into the abyss. How could it be controlled by that person?" A genius next to him turned his head and said in surprise, "You two don't know." Chapter 30, 196. The person in front of him was Prince Luo, a genius of the Luo family. That puppet had been subdued by the Luo family patriarch and controlled by an array formation. The Luo family had sent 2 half-sages this time. At this point, the surrounding geniuses were extremely envious. 2 half-sages. Prince Luo's status could be said to be extremely noble. It was no wonder that the 2 half-sages had subdued the black puppet and placed a restriction on it. That was why Prince Luo was able to wantonly collect elixirs. However, Lin Xian was also rather interested, so he was prepared to give it a try. He didn't want to gain any combat experience. He was just interested in the puppet and wanted to see if he could unravel its secrets. Therefore, when the genius on the stage left the stage, Lin Xian handed over 100 magnificent sky pills and walked up. Previously, no one had paid much attention to him. After all, there were too many geniuses like him. However, Lin Xian's actions after he went up caused an uproar. Lin Xian didn't make a move immediately. Instead, a mysterious rune shot out from his eyes and surged forward. Immediately, the black puppet in front of him became uneasy. In fact, even the radiance on it had dimmed. A ferocious and terrifying cold aura surged out and swept across the 9 heavens. What was going on? How could there be such a terrifying aura? The surrounding geniuses were all stunned. They couldn't imagine what was going on, especially those who had taught Luo Yunyang before. They were even more shocked. When they had exchanged blows with the puppet previously, although the puppet was powerful, it hadn't emitted such a terrifying aura. The faces of the Luo family members changed. This was bad. Could the restrictions set up by the patriarch have been broken? They knew that the black puppet was extremely violent. It was the guardian of the abyss. However, their patriarch had set up an array formation to seal its terrifying aura. Otherwise, geniuses like them who were close to the Tao wouldn't have dared to exchange blows with it. However, they hadn't expected that the young man in red would actually make the puppet explode when he went up. The array formation was about to disappear. This made Prince Luo extremely anxious. In the next instant, he shouted coldly, "Hurry up and stop him." Don't let him continue fighting. Although he didn't know the reason, he could tell that Lin Xian's strange eyes were very likely the reason why the black puppet had lost control. Prince Luo wasn't the only Luo family member there. There were also some young people and white-haired elders. Therefore, when they heard Prince Luo's words, the elders and geniuses all made a move. The 4 elders controlled the array disc, causing the array on the black puppet to shine brightly, suppressing the overflowing cold aura. At the same time, another 3 young sky prides acted and cut off the space between Lin Xian and the black puppet. The Luo family members of the Luo family heaved a sigh of Luo. Luo, 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 Luo. Luos, Luo, Luo. Luo, Luo, Luos. Young Master Luo harumphed coldly. This damned brat actually dared to destroy the formation left behind by the Luo family's old ancestor. Luo, Luo, Luo break his legs, and chop him into 1,000 pieces for me. When they heard Prince Luo's order, the 3 young geniuses strode towards Lin Xian. Terrifying energy surged from their bodies, forming a cage that locked Lin Xian in place. The faces of the geniuses around them changed. Soon, someone sneered. This kid really doesn't know what's good for him. That's right. What he used just now was probably an eye technique. It seemed like he wanted to find out the secret of the black puppet. But who does he think he is? How dare he do something in front of the Luo family? He's dead meat this time. He who asked him to be so reckless. Numerous discussions sounded out. As far as they were concerned, Lin Xian was definitely going to die. When the Crimson Dragon saw this scene, he sneered coldly, not knowing what was good for him. Lin Xian's face darkened. To be honest, he hadn't expected the black puppet's aura to be so cold and violent. However, when he heard Prince Luo's words and saw the actions of the people around him, his face darkened. What's going on? How dare these people attack him? They even want to kill him? He was a half-sage. He was on the same level as the patriarch of these people. How dare these people attack him? Even if he took the black puppet away on the spot, who would dare to say anything, let alone investigate its secrets? Looking at the 3 young geniuses, Lin Xian was instantly enraged. He snorted coldly, and a sharp light burst out from his eyes. They were like 2 golden swords that slashed forward. Boom! Wherever his gaze passed, everything was shattered. The attacks of the 3 geniuses were shattered. Not only that, but the 3 of them were also sent flying. This person is so powerful. Who is he? He's probably also a genius. The surrounding people were all stunned when they saw the scene. In their opinion, Lin Xian was definitely going to die. They didn't expect Lin Xian to be so powerful. Prince Luo's face was ferocious. Damn it! How dare he attack a member of the Luo family? This is unforgivable, he said coldly. Kill him. Don't hold back. Destroy his heart and soul. Hearing this, the 4 elders of the Luo family in front turned their heads. Their eyes were filled with killing intent. They didn't hesitate at all. An ancient lamp bloomed with white light in the sky and slashed down. A purple bead bloomed with lightning and charged over. The ground cracked open. 2 grayish-white claws grabbed at Lin Xian's body, trying to tear him apart. The last elder uttered a roar and lashed out with his fiery red palm, which covered the sky and the earth. The 4 elders were very powerful. When they attacked together, the surrounding geniuses' faces changed. They were afraid that even an elite who was close to the Tao would be turned into ashes. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Previously, I sent you flying because of the patriarch of the Luo family. I didn't kill you. However, you don't know what's good for you. You want to destroy my soul? If that's the case, you can all go to hell. He stomped his foot and the ground cracked open. For flaming sword lights rushed out from the ground and instantly shattered the attacks of the 4 elders. Not only that, the 4 swords also split the 4 elders of the Luo family in half. Their broken bodies were ignited and burned fiercely. In an instant, they were turned into ashes. The 4 Luo family elders did not even have time to let out a scream before they were beheaded. What? How can this person be so powerful? This time, the surrounding geniuses were all stunned. If Lin Xian's ability to repel the 3 sky prides had shocked them before, they were now shocked. Now, they were already terrified. Many of them were about to wet their pants. None of the 4 elders were weaker than them. Moreover, they had rich combat experience. When the 4 of them joined forces, they could kill any one of them in an instant. However, the end result of those 4 elders was that their bodies and souls were destroyed. They were burned to ashes. The people of the Luo family were also shocked. Prince Luo's face turned pale. However, it soon turned into a monstrous viciousness. Damn it! How dare he kill the people of the Luo family? Men, kill him! Use the array formation and the black puppets to tear him into pieces. Chapter 30, 197. Crazy roars were heard as the Luo family's powerhouses moved out one after another. Some of them even controlled the black puppet to attack quickly. Lin Xian's figure flashed and instantly appeared in front of young Master Luo. He grabbed his head with one hand. Damn it, get lost! Young Master Luo's pupils shrank. Su Qin was a ruthless person who had killed 4 elders in an instant. He did not dare to fight against him. Therefore, he quickly retreated. At the same time, he opened his mouth and spat out a black flying dagger. The black flying dagger was a sage-to-be weapon. It was very terrifying when it was used. Haha, kid, go to hell. Young Master Luo was very ferocious. At such a close distance, and with his full strength, Su Qian would definitely die. Bang! The sage-to-be flying dagger was slapped away by Lin Xian. Crack! In the next moment, Su Qian grabbed young Master Luo's head. Ah! Young Master Luo let out a miserable cry. His eyes were filled with fear. How was this possible? Su Qian had easily slapped away his attack, and he had subdued him in an instant. Young Master Luo felt as if his body was firmly grasped by a pair of invisible hands. He could not exert any strength at all. Damn it, let go of our young master. The people of the Luo family also roared crazily. The geniuses and warriors of the other families were stunned. Heavens, who was this person? Wasn't he too powerful? Damn kid, let go of me. Believe it or not, our patriarch will slap you to death. If you dare to touch me, you're definitely dead. Slap me to death? Lin Xian sneered. He waved his hand and threw young Master Luo away. He stood with his hands behind his back. Call the patriarch of the Luo family here. Let's see if he dares to slap me to death. Young Master, are you all right? The elders of the Luo family hurriedly caught young Master Luo and heaved a sigh of relief. Young Master Luo was trembling with anger. Good kid, you're really arrogant. No one has ever dared to provoke the Luo family like this. Just you wait. Young Master Luo took out a voice transmission talisman and hurriedly sent a voice transmission to his patriarch. During this time, the surrounding elites were stunned. Heavens, could it be? This kid is not running away. Is he really going to go against the patriarch? What a joke! No matter how strong he was, how could he be a match for the Luo family's patriarch? That was a half-saint. Yes, I've only heard that among the younger generation, there is a Lin Wudi who can compete with a half-saint. Unfortunately, he had already died to the blood curse of the Great Scarlet Plains. Invincible Lin, was that the kid's nickname? This was too arrogant. The dark red divine dragon rolled its eyes when it heard that. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. Most of these people had heard of his reputation, but not many had actually seen him. Therefore, these people did not recognize him at all. Otherwise, this young Master Luo would not have dared to be so arrogant. Boom! The sky shattered, and a wisp of Sage-to-Be's aura came down. crushing half of the void. Ancestor. When young Master Luo saw this scene, he immediately cheered. The Luo family warriors also heaved a sigh of relief. The patriarch of the Luo clan had arrived. Indeed, an old man in a Taoist robe appeared in the sky. He held a walking stick and descended in an incomparably domineering manner like a god. Boom! 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 Several figures appeared in the surroundings, each of them extremely terrifying. At this moment, all the sky prides were out of breath. Their eyes widened in shock. Sage-to-be. There was more than one sage-to-be. Several sage-to-be had arrived. Heavens, that kid is dead meat. Su Chen also narrowed his eyes. More than one. But soon the corners of his mouth curled up. It seemed that he had met a few acquaintances. He did not make a move. Beside him, the Crimson Dragon quickly came to Lin Xian's side as if he was facing a formidable enemy. After all, the opponent had sent 4 sage-to-be this time. Kid, the situation is not good. The Crimson Dragon transmitted its voice. Lin Xian waved his hand. It was fine. He did not believe that the other party would dare to touch him. After the patriarch of the Luo family landed, he asked coldly, "What's going on?" "Patriarch, kill him quickly. This kid dares to threaten me and kill the 4 elders of the Luo family." "What? Who is it?" The patriarch of the Luo family was instantly enraged. His aura was like the roar of a true dragon. His eyes were like rainbows as he stared at Lin Xian. At the same time, the other 3 people beside him also looked at him. In the next moment, the 2 of them exclaimed in surprise, "It's you, Lin Gongzi." When the 2 of them exclaimed, the patriarch of the Luo family was stunned. The surrounding martial artists and sky prides were also stunned. What's going on? Could it be that the 2 sage-to-be knew this kid in front of them? It seemed that this kid's identity was not ordinary. He must be a genius disciple of some family, right? As expected, the patriarch of the Luo family frowned and asked coldly, "What's going on? Do the 2 of you know him? Is he a disciple of the Qi family? Or is he Jin Yuanzi's disciple? If that was the case, perhaps it would be inappropriate for him to intervene." However, in the next moment he was stunned. He could not believe his eyes. Jin Yuanzi said, "Fellow cultivator, we meet again." Fellow cultivator. Jin Yuanzi actually called him a fellow cultivator. Heavens, what's going on? This is not how a senior should treat a junior. Could it be that the young man in front of him had such a high status that a sage-to-be would treat him with respect? Could he be one of those terrifying family clans? The patriarch of the Luo family took a deep breath. He recalled that there were several terrifying families on the ancient path of the stars. At that moment, the patriarch of the Qi family walked out and looked in front of him. He was extremely excited. "Lin Gongzi, it's you. It's really you. You're not dead." The patriarch of the Qi family was too shocked. He knew that Lin Xian's true identity was Lin Wudi. He had reached the sage-to-be at such a young age and had killed Patriarch Shuapao. However, wasn't he killed by Patriarch Shuapao's curse? Why was he here? Could it be that he had withstood the sage-to-be curse? The patriarch of the Qi family felt his scalp go numb. "Oh, old Master Qi, I didn't expect to meet you here," Lin Xian said with a smile. Then he looked at Jin Yuanzi and nodded slightly. The surrounding sky prides were in an uproar. Did they see wrongly? Lin Xian's attitude was so arrogant. He was a sage-to-be. They had to bow to him when they saw him. However, Lin Xian only nodded, as if he did not care. The people of the Luo family were stunned. Young Master Luo looked at the patriarch of the Luo family. The patriarch of the Luo family took a deep breath and asked, "Fellow cultivator Qi, fellow cultivator Jin, may I know who this young man is?" "He's a fellow cultivator that I met on the way here," Jin Yuanzi said. "He's a young sage-to-be." "What? Sage-to-be? He's a sage-to-be." The patriarch of the Luo family gasped when he heard that. The martial artists of the Luo family were dumbfounded. The surrounding sky prides were in an uproar. Chapter 30, 198. A half-sage? Such a young half-sage! How could this be? Could it be that the Golden Age had arrived? Those peerless geniuses had been resurrected. Such a young half-sage had completely surpassed them. The geniuses were all dumbfounded by what they saw. They were usually so proud. They were all geniuses who had stepped onto the ancient path of the stars. They had grasped a power that was close to the Tao and stood at the peak of the younger generation. But now, they were trampled under the feet of a person. Someone had surpassed them and comprehended a law fragment. This made them feel despair. This person was too terrifying. Damn it, we've been left far behind. First, there was Lin Wuti, and now there was a half-sage. There would probably be more and more young half-sages appearing in the future. Luo family was shocked. He did not expect the person in front of him to be a half-sage. Their Luo family had provoked a half-sage. This matter was not going to be easy to deal with. Perhaps he would have to give some face. At this time, the Qi family's patriarch took a deep breath and said, "The name Lin Gongzi was not unfamiliar to everyone. It could be said that it was like thunder in their ears." When these words came out, many people were stunned. Was this young man in front of them very famous? But why had they not heard of him? Wait, Lin Gongzi? Could it be? Some people were shocked and seemed to have guessed something. Qi family's patriarch said loudly, "I think some of you have already guessed it. Yes, Lin Gongzi is Lin Wuti." What? Lin Wuti? He is Lin Wuti, the one who killed Patriarch Shuapao, Lin Wuti. Everyone screamed crazily as if they had seen a ghost. Impossible. Luo family's patriarch also screamed. Lin Wuti had been killed by a half-sage's curse. How could he be Lin Wuti if he died in the Great Scarlet Plain? He was really shocked. What a joke! Not only did he provoke a half-sage, but he was also a terrifying god of death. The others were also puzzled. Yes, a half-sage's curse had attracted a terrifying heavenly tribulation. How did he escape? A mere half-saint's curse can't kill me, Lin Xian said proudly with his hands behind his back. Everyone felt their scalps go numb. He was too powerful. The person in front of them was simply a legend. That was a curse that Patriarch Shuapao had cast at the cost of his soul falling into eternal darkness. Even such a powerful attack was unable to kill the other party. There were probably very few half-sages who could kill him. The Crimson Dragon was surprised. He didn't expect Lin Xian to be so famous. As soon as Lin Wuti's name came out, the faces of the surrounding half-saints changed. Sure enough, other than the Qi family patriarch, the other 3 half-saints were all stunned. Among them, Gold Origin was also shocked. So he was Lin Wuti. Thinking of this, Gold Origin felt a trace of hope. The reason for that was because his disciples had clashed with Lin Xian. "How dare you say you want to kill me?" Lin Xian snorted. Young Master Luo's head split open and his soul tried to escape. However, Lin Xian directly enveloped him and froze him in the air. "Lin Gongzi, you can't!" The Luo family patriarch hurriedly shouted. This Luo Tian was a very talented person among the younger generation of the Luo family. He had already comprehended a power that was close to the Tao. In a few hundred years, he might become another half-saint. Therefore, he was the future hope of the Luo family. How could he allow such a person to fall? "What? You dare to stop me?" Lin Xian looked at him disdainfully. The aura on his body became more and more terrifying. Sword Qi rushed to the 9 heavens and 10 lands. At this moment, he was like a sword emperor. The powerful aura suppressed the surrounding geniuses and made them all prostrate on the ground. The Qi family patriarch's expression changed. "Damn it, he's too strong. Why is his aura even stronger than before? The Luo family patriarch's pupils shrank as well. "Brother Luo, don't act rashly," the Qi family patriarch advised from the side. He didn't want the two to fight. The Luo family patriarch's face was extremely gloomy. To be honest, although the opponent was Lin Wuti, he was too much. How dare he kill a genius of the Luo family in front of him? Did he really think that he was a pushover? Chapter 30, 199. Humph. I'd like to see what you're capable of, Lin Wuti. The Luo family's patriarch took a step forward, and his aura exploded. The surrounding Dharma fragments danced and pierced through the void. Sigh. Beside him, the Qi family's patriarch sighed. He knew that the Luo family's patriarch was angry. He couldn't persuade him to change his mind. At this moment, Jin Yuanzi said, "No, Brother Luo, the one beside him is from the dragon tribe, and he's also a half-step sage." What? As soon as these words were spoken, everyone in the surroundings was stunned. The Sky Prides were scared out of their wits. The Luo family's patriarch was stunned as well. The dragon beside him was also a half-step sage? Heavens, 2 half-step sages! The Luo family's patriarch trembled slightly. In the next moment, his eyes dimmed, and the Dharma fragments that filled the sky disappeared. His opponents were 2 half-step sages. If they really fought, he wouldn't be able to defeat them. After all, he wasn't confident that he could defeat Lin Xian. With the addition of the dragon tribe, there was a 90% chance that he would lose. Although the few half-step sages beside him were his friends, it was still uncertain whether they would help him if a fight broke out. However, Luo Tian didn't know what was good for him. 2 half-step sages? Do you think the Luo family doesn't have any? Patriarch, hurry up and call him Great Ancestor. Both of you, attack together and suppress this kid. Why? Does the Luo family want to fight? If you really want to fight, I don't mind uprooting the Luo family. When Lin Xian said this, the 9 heavens and 10 earths trembled. The crimson dragon beside him let out a roar that soared into the 9 heavens. Many people fainted from the roar. Damn it! The Luo family's patriarch's face was extremely ugly. The Luo family did have 2 half-step sages this time, but the other half-step sage wasn't here. He wouldn't be here anytime soon. If they really fought, he would probably be the first to die. Looking at the other party, not only him, but the entire Luo family would suffer if they really fought. Lin Gongzi must be joking. Why would I fight with Lin Gongzi? The Luo family's patriarch shook his head. Luo Tian offended young master and deserved to die. I hope that Lin Gongzi will not implicate my Luo family. As soon as these words were spoken, the geniuses were extremely shocked and lowered their heads. The patriarch of the Luo family actually lowered his head to the other party. This was too unbelievable. Was this Lin Wuti? These 3 words were like a huge mountain, pressing down on them until they could not breathe. No, Ancestor, you can't give up on me. Luo Tian was really scared. Previously, he thought that the Luo clan had 2 patriarchs, so he didn't put anyone in his eyes. So what if the other party was a half-step saint? The Luo clan wasn't afraid, even if it was 2 half-saints. But how could he have known that Lin Wuti was even more terrifying than he had imagined? Even the Luo clan's old ancestor did not dare to make a move and could only give up. Regret. Luo Tian was filled with regret. If the heavens gave him another chance, he would never dare to offend the other party. The next moment, he hurriedly knelt down and kowtowed. The soul let out a thumping sound in the void. Lin Gongzi, I was wrong. Please spare my worthless life. Lin Gongzi, please let me go. From now on, you are my master. Luo Tian's body trembled. However, Lin Xian sneered. He waved his hand and threw Luo Tian's soul in front of the Luo clan's old ancestor. You should know what to do. The Luo clan's old ancestor took a deep breath. Bastard. He offended a half-step saint and implicated the Luo clan. Now, he even made the Luo clan lose face. He deserved to die. The Luo clan's old ancestor's expression was cold. With a palm, he destroyed Luo Tian's soul. Luo Tian's soul let out a scream and disappeared into thin air. The Luo clan's warriors were so frightened that they knelt on the ground and kowtowed continuously. The other geniuses were also pale. Luo Tian was dead, and he was killed by the Luo clan's old ancestor. This scene was too shocking. Lin Gongzi, are you satisfied? The Luo clan's old ancestor asked after killing Luo Tian. I'll spare your Luo clan this time. If you dare to provoke me again, I'll uproot you. Lin Xian snorted and looked at the Qi clan's old ancestor and Jin Yuanzi. How much do you know about falling into the abyss? We don't know much, but Brother Qi came here 300 years ago, so he knows more than us. We're here to ask for Brother Qi's advice, Jin Yuanzi said. Lin Xian nodded. He knew that the Qi clan's old ancestor was injured when he fell into the abyss 300 years ago. Therefore, the Qi clan's old ancestor should know more. Lin Gongzi, why don't you join us? We need some experts. The Qi clan's old ancestor smiled. All right. Lin Xian nodded and walked over with the Crimson Dragon. The Luo clan's old ancestor frowned slightly, but soon the coldness in his eyes disappeared. He was no match for Lin Xian now. He had to wait for the other half-saint of the Luo clan to come back. He could only bear with it now. Lin Xian's attention was on the Qi clan's old ancestor because the Qi clan's old ancestor knew more. He said, Everyone, let me tell you first. It's very dangerous to fall into the abyss. Although I came here 300 years ago, I only walked a certain distance. I don't know how deep it is. However, there are many puppets in the distance that I walked. Those puppets are very strong, second only to the half-saints. Moreover, they move in groups. When they work together, their strength is very terrifying. That's why I've gathered all of you to fight them together. Also, the cold aura is very scary. It not only affects the body, but also the soul. Therefore, you must protect yourselves well. Don't let the Yin ghosts and Yin demons invade you. Last time, I was invaded by a Yin ghost. That's why I've been dying for 300 years. If it weren't for Lin Gongzi, I would have gone to hell. What? The Qi clan's old ancestor's injury was healed by Lin Gongzi. Jin Yuanzi and the others were shocked. Luo clan's old ancestor Luo gasped. His eyes were full of shock. This young man was too scary. He had actually helped the Qi clan's old ancestor. Thinking of this, he quickly suppressed the idea of revenge. As the group of people spoke, they quickly flew forward. There had been 4 half-saints before. With Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon, there were now 6 half-saints. The 6 of them turned into 6 rays of light and flew quickly in the sky. Everyone, pay attention. We've completely entered the abyss. From now on, there will be dark puppets appearing. Everyone must be careful. Don't let them find you or trap you. The Qi clan's old ancestor quickly formed a seal. Immediately, the precept fragment danced, and his aura was completely hidden. The other half-saints also moved quickly. A golden ball of light shrouded Jin Yuanzi's head. The Luo clan's old ancestor put on a fiery red robe. The other half-ancestor was called the Martial Cultivation Half-Saint. Mysterious runes appeared on his body and also covered his aura. Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon used their superpowers. The aura of the 6 half-saints completely disappeared in the void. The methods of these half-step saints were extremely exquisite. However, after half a day, the Qi clan's old ancestor's face turned ugly. Lin Xian also frowned. Oh no, were they discovered? Chapter 30-200. They felt as if there was a pair of eyes staring at them from the void, which sent chills down their spines. Impossible. We've already concealed our aura. How can they still detect us? Gold Origin frowned. I'm afraid it's a formation. We must have been caught by the formation. The Crimson Dragon spoke. He was an expert in formations. Naturally, he could sense that there was an invisible formation between heaven and earth that had shrouded them. How could it be like this? Everyone frowned. Suddenly, there was a violent fluctuation in front of them. Immediately after, heaven and earth boiled and the void shattered. Someone was fighting. The Chi family patriarch and the others exclaimed. The Crimson Dragon waved his dragon claws and instantly formed a formation that reflected the scene in front of them. What a brilliant formation! The Chi family patriarch and the others were shocked. They did not expect the Crimson Dragon to be an expert in formations. But now they could not care less. Their eyes were fixed on the scene in front of them. There was a team of 4 in front of them. 2 of them were sage-to-be. 2 of them were sky prides who were close to the Tao. Black figures appeared around them. There were 20 of them densely packed together. 20 black puppets attacked together, causing heaven and earth to explode. Between heaven and earth, strong winds blew, and a terrifying force shrouded the 4 of them. The 4 of them fought back crazily. But each of the black puppets was far stronger than the martial artists who were close to the Tao. The 20 black puppets attacked together. The 2 sky prides who were close to the Tao could not resist at all. They were instantly defeated. Even the 2 sage-to-be were suppressed. In the end, the 4 of them were completely wiped out. This scene left the Chi clan's patriarch and the others dumbfounded. Those were sage-to-be. They were existences like them. But they were killed, and there were 2 of them. This sent chills down their spines. Damn it, why are there so many black puppets? Gold origin sucked in a breath of cold air. 20 black puppets together was too powerful. Even they would find it difficult to deal with them. Let's be careful, the Luo family patriarch said in a deep voice. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. What a powerful black puppet. And there were too many of them. If it was just one of them, they probably wouldn't be afraid at all. However, there were dozens of them at the same time. This kind of strength was absolutely terrifying. Furthermore, these black puppets were definitely not the only things that had fallen into the abyss. There were probably other dangers as well. At this moment, another scream was heard from their right. Everyone quickly turned their heads to look at the source of the scream. Lin Xian's eyes flickered with a golden light that pierced through the void. In the next moment, he sucked in a breath of cold air. Another half-saint had fallen. The Chi family patriarch and the others swallowed their saliva when they saw this. Following that, 3 more screams were heard. Clearly, more half-saints had fallen. Among them, there were even more warriors who were close to the Tao who had perished. Damn it, how did this happen? The patriarch of the Luo clan and the others clenched their fists tightly. This place was actually so terrifying. Now, they were somewhat regretful. After all, 6 half-saints had fallen in a short while. If this happened outside, it would definitely shock the world. But here he had died without a sound. Fellow Taoist Chi, are you confident? Jin Yuanzi, the patriarch of the Luo clan, and Xiao Wu looked at the patriarch of the Chi family. The patriarch of the Chi family took a deep breath. He was originally full of confidence, but after experiencing this scene, his heart was beating like a drum. To be honest, I'm not 100% confident, but I'm still 50% confident. Hearing this, the patriarch of the Luo clan and the others' faces changed. Lin Xian said in a deep voice, "In that case, let's begin. Since we're already here, we have to give it a try." Indeed, although a half-saint had fallen, it couldn't stop Lin Xian's pace. He had to see him fall into the abyss. Even if these people didn't go, he would go. However, with the patriarch of the Chi family around, it would be more convenient. After all, he had been here 300 years ago. Since Lin Gongzi said so, he would give it a try. The patriarch of the Chi family took a deep breath and looked around. Although I've been here 300 years ago, the scene now is different from 300 years ago. 300 years ago, it wasn't so dangerous. Moreover, Today, there was chaotic chi and light in the abyss. It was obvious that some changes had occurred. As the patriarch of the Chi family spoke, he formed a seal with his palms. Stars lit up on his body one after another. There were a total of 7 stars shining in the sky. Stars deduction. When the patriarch of the Luo clan and the others saw this, they were filled with anticipation. Come this way. The patriarch of the Chi family waved his hand and led the group to the left. After half an hour, they were attacked. Not good. The patriarch of the Chi family exclaimed. What's going on? Have we been discovered? The half-saints were surprised. There were no black puppets around. The crimson dragon fist said, Array, we've encountered an array. He pointed at the void below. Sure enough, there were a few runes shining there. Damn it. The patriarch of the Chi family and the others felt their scalps go numb. The half-saints' faces changed, and they quickly fled. Buzz! There was a violent fluctuation in the sky, and a black figure appeared. Following that, a series of terrifying attacks came rushing over. Not good. Hurry up and defend. The patriarch of the Chi family roared. The stars on his body connected to each other and formed a starry sky chart that shrouded everyone. With a clang, the attacks hit the starry sky chart, causing it to shake violently. However, the starry sky chart withstood the attacks. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. The patriarch of the Chi family waved his hand and said, Let's go. As soon as he said that, the starry sky chart above his head broke open, and a black light split him in half. Ah! The patriarch of the Chi family screamed. The stars in the sky shone, and the 7 stars shrouded him. His body quickly healed. The people around him were scared out of their wits. At the same time, Jin Yuanzi took out a large golden umbrella and covered everyone. The patriarch of the Luo clan took out a large cauldron and kept enlarging it until it covered everyone. With 2 layers of defense, the half-saints heaved a sigh of relief. However, in the next moment, the 2 layers of defense shook violently. It was as if they would break at any time. Not good. Jin Yuanzi and the patriarch of the Luo clan changed their expressions. They hurriedly formed a seal. The nomological fragments kept flying, but in the next moment, the 2 layers of defense broke open again. Their Dharma treasures were sent flying. At the same time, 20 black puppets appeared around them. Each of them exuded a powerful aura. Individually, they were not as strong as them. However, when the 20 of them joined forces, the aura they formed was too strong. Don't worry, we can still fight against 20 of them. Indeed, they had 6 half-saints on their side. However, in the next moment, their expressions changed and they even became frightened, because in the distance, another 20 puppets flew over. Chapter 3201. A total of 40 black puppets surrounded them. There was no way they could escape. Damn it! How could there be so many of them? The Chi family patriarch and the others turned pale. If there were 20 of them, they could still fight. But how could they fight 40 of them? They would most likely die. Boom! The black puppets were on the move. Their auras were so terrifying that they resonated with the falling abyss. Suddenly, the 9 heavens and 10 lands shattered, and the light shrouded the Chi family patriarch and the others. Fight back! Don't hold back! The Chi family patriarch and the others roared crazily. The few half-saints attacked crazily. They weren't young geniuses. They were all veteran powerhouses who had experienced countless battles. Their experiences were plentiful. They had many trump cards. So, when they attacked, they sent more than a dozen black puppets flying. Boom! The 7 stars on the Chi family patriarch's body twined like a starry sky dragon. It shattered the void, and as it roared, the black puppets were forced to retreat. Jin Yuanzi called back the golden umbrella in the sky. The golden umbrella whistled, bringing about a powerful storm. Countless golden lights turned into shooting stars, piercing through the 9 heavens. The cauldron above the Luo family patriarch's head waved its hands, bringing with it thousands of rays of light and countless law fragments. Xiao Wu roared, clenched his fist, and punched. He was a body-refining half-saint. The law fragments on his body trembled, and the power was strong enough to shatter the world. The 4 half-saints attacked together, and the power was terrifying. But this time there were 40 black puppets. These black puppets could combine with each other to form a large array. Together with the aura of the falling abyss, the power was equally terrifying. So, the Qi family patriarch and the others were in danger. The 40 puppets attacked crazily. They were not afraid of death, and they did not feel pain. Boom! The 4 puppets stacked on top of each other, and the monstrous aura formed a giant sword, which cut the starry sky dragon into pieces. The Qi family patriarch was also sent flying, and one of his arms was cut off. Among them, 20 black spears appeared in the hands of the puppets. They attacked together, forming a black light beam, and sent the cauldron beside the Luo family patriarch flying. At the same time, the black spears pierced through the Luo family patriarch's body. Then, the Luo family patriarch was torn apart. Whoa! The black puppets went berserk. Next, Jin Yuanzi and Xiao were seriously injured. Their bodies were instantly destroyed. These were all half-sages. They quickly reassembled, but soon they were shattered again. Damn it, he's too strong. These 40 puppets together were simply too powerful. Separate! I must separate these puppets! The Qi family patriarch roared like a madman. However, just as he finished speaking, 40 black fists once again smashed into his body. Not only that, this time, a terrifying aura appeared on the bodies of the 40 cultivators, which formed into a gray claw that grabbed at the Qi clan patriarch's shattered body. From the looks of it, he wanted to crush his soul. No, the Qi clan's ancestor screamed like a madman. Could it be that he was going to die here? Fellow Taoist Qi, Jin Yuanzi, and the other 2 roared furiously as well. However, their bodies had just been reassembled, so they couldn't help in time. At the most critical moment, a sword light descended from the sky. It was incomparably vast and carried with it a fiery red radiance as it slashed over. With a slash, the gray hand was destroyed. Not only that, but the void within a radius of tens of thousands of miles completely collapsed, forming a large crack. Phew! The Qi clan's ancestor heaved a sigh of relief. The Luo family's ancestor and the others were shocked. Who was this? This sword strike was too terrifying. It made their hair stand on end. This was definitely a top expert. Are you all right? A faint voice sounded. Hearing this voice, the Luo family's ancestor and the others quickly turned their heads and looked over. They saw that Lin Xian's arm still had fragments of the law of fire flying around. It was obvious that he was the one who had struck out with the sword. This brat was actually so strong. Everyone was shocked, especially the Luo family's ancestor. Cold sweat trickled down his forehead. Fortunately, he hadn't fought with Lin Xian before. Otherwise, he would have ended up in a miserable state. Many thanks to Lin Gongzi for lending a hand. The Qi clan's ancestor's body was reassembled, and his face was filled with gratitude. If it wasn't for Lin Xian, his soul would have been destroyed. Jin Yuanzi and Xiao Wu were equally shocked. Was this Lin Wudi? He was indeed strong. No wonder he could kill Shui Pao Patriarch. Lin Gongzi, what do you think we should do? The Qi clan's ancestor looked at Lin Xian. The Luo family's ancestor and the others looked over as well. Although Lin Xian was a few thousand years younger than them, at this moment they had to follow Lin Xian's lead. These 40 puppets knew how to attack together, and their combined strength was very strong. However, if they were scattered, then there was nothing to be afraid of. They understood the logic, but they couldn't do it. The Qi clan's ancestor and the others sighed. No worries, leave this to me. Lin Xian stood out. Ruzalong, get ready. The crimson dragon flew over. No problem, they could start at any time. That's good. Lin Xian's eyes shone with a cold light. The flame aura on his body instantly erupted like a volcano. It made the 9 heavens and 10 lands tremble. The fragment of the law of fire, accompanied by his fist, blasted out. This punch was like a god descending, shattering the sky. Buzz! The 40 black puppets attacked together, forming a black spear that pierced out. The two collided in the sky, and the golden fist was pierced through. It was unbelievable. One had to know how terrifying Lin Xian's punch was, but it was pierced through. One could only imagine how terrifying the 40 black puppets would be when they were linked together. It was no wonder that so many half-sages had fallen before. But so what? Lin Xian's punch was just a test. In the sky, the black spear pierced through the golden fist, and then fiercely pierced towards Lin Xian. Not good. The Qi clan's ancestor and the others' faces changed. Could it be that even Lin Xian couldn't withstand it? If that was the case, then they were doomed. Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly. His eyes shone with a cold light. In the face of such a powerful spear, he advanced instead of retreating. His body swayed, turning into a golden stream of light, and instantly rushed out. Then he stretched out his big hand. This time, his big hand carried golden runes, but it didn't transform into a palm of light. Instead, it grabbed with his bare hand. No way! What was Lin Gongzi trying to do? Could it be that he wanted to fight with his bare hands? The Qi clan's ancestor and the others' faces twitched when they saw this. It was impossible. The 4 half-saints were all stupefied. They knew how terrifying the spear was. Their half-sage weapons were instantly sent flying. Now, someone wanted to fight with pure physical strength. How could that be possible? It would probably be pierced through in an instant. Chapter 3202. However, the 4 half-saints were stunned in an instant. In the next moment, they were so scared that they almost peed their pants. Lin Xian's hands shone brightly as he grabbed the black spear. The black spear could knock a half-saint weapon away and pierce through a half-saint, but it was caught by Lin Xian's hands. It could not move in the sky. What? He really blocked it. How is this possible? The Luo family patriarch's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Jin Yuanzi and the others also gasped. They knew that Lin Xian was powerful, but they did not expect Lin Xian to be so powerful. Huh! Lin Xian shouted coldly as he exerted strength in his hands. His hands were like real dragons as they shone with unparalleled light. Then he forcefully swung the black spear and broke it into 2 halves. The 40 puppets took 3 steps back and broke through the void. Lin Xian was like a peerless overlord as he roared to the sky. He stood there and prevented the 40 puppets from moving forward. He's a god of war. The Qi family patriarch and the others looked up at the young figure in the sky in shock. Could it be that they were really old? Is this the world of young people? However, they had never seen a young man who was so terrifying. Is he really just a half-saint? They were all doubtful at this moment. Their bodies weren't as strong as his. Ruzalong. In the sky, Lin Xian pushed back the 40 black puppets and then roared. The crimson dragon said, "Don't worry, it's ready." It turned out that when Lin Xian was fighting with the 40 puppets, the crimson dragon had already started to set up a formation. He wanted to break the formation with the formation. Rise! The crimson dragon roared as the countless fragments of the law of thunder on its body surged into the formation. Immediately, a lightning formation rose into the sky. Its tremendous power covered the entire area. Attack! With a long roar, the thunder formation burst out with unparalleled light as it began to attack the surrounding void. A series of flickering formations appeared in the originally dark and gloomy void. There is indeed a formation. The Qi family patriarch and the others exclaimed. They had not noticed it before. If it were not for the crimson dragon, they would never have found it. This dragon is too terrifying. It's a formation expert. They were too shocked. They did not expect Lin Xian's companions to be so terrifying. The 40 black puppets roared crazily because they did not want the formation to break. They turned into phantoms of fiend gods and rushed over at high speed. Lin Xian snorted coldly and stomped his foot, shattering the void within 1,000,000 miles. You want to go over? You'll have to pass me. His 9-yang divine body was unleashed to the extreme by him. He Lin Xian, Lin the heaven, earth, and the earth between heaven and earth. Huge cracks flickered for millions of miles. At this moment, the entire falling abyss was boiling. God, who is fighting? A half-step sage is fighting with the black puppets. There were other half-step sages around. At that moment, they felt a shocking power coming from afar and were shocked. In the next moment, many people's expressions changed. Oh no, retreat! They ran away crazily. That was because a violent power swept through heaven and earth. How terrifying! How many half-step sages are attacking? Damn it, a lot of people are coming. The other powerhouses swallowed their saliva, and some of their eyes lit up. That's great. Such a violent power will definitely attract more black puppets, and the guards in other places will be weaker. They could take this opportunity to attack. Thinking of that, they turned into streaks of light and rushed into the distance. At the front, Lin Xian was fighting 40 puppets head-on, and the battle was earth-shattering. Are you done? Hooligan! Lin Xian roared. His physique was strong, but at that moment his blood was boiling and his body was trembling. There was nothing he could do. The 40 puppets were so powerful that they were equivalent to several half-step sages attacking together. Lin Xian could resist, but the Luo family patriarch and the others were scared silly. Hurry up! Hold on for a while longer. The crimson dragon waved its dragon claws, controlling the array with all its might. Roar! Lin Xian roared, and the great dragon sword spirit in his body roared. Endless precept fragments gathered above his head, forming a precept sword. He held it in his hand. With a slash of the sword, the mountains and rivers shattered, and the void within 1,000,000 miles was completely enveloped by the flaming sword. Buzz! The 40 black puppets gathered again, forming a long black saber that slashed in all directions. It collided with the precept sword. The two of them fought until the sky fell and the earth cracked. Are you done? Lin Xian roared again. If things didn't go well, he would have to use more trump cards. All right, the crimson dragon responded. Suddenly in the void, countless shattering sounds could be heard. The array hidden in the void was broken. Great! Lin Xian laughed. 9 suns opened the sky. With a slash of the sword, it could destroy the sun and moon. This slash directly sent the 40 puppets flying. Among them, 7 or 8 puppets were destroyed by the slash. The remaining 30 puppets were also scattered. They couldn't gather again. Hurry up! Lin Xian roared and rushed over. Behind him, the Qi family's patriarch and the others came to their senses. They also took a deep breath, suppressed the shock in their hearts, and rushed over. The 40 puppets could no longer attack together, and now they were scattered in all directions. Although in groups of 3 to 5, they could still fight against a half-saint, but they still couldn't threaten them. Therefore, it didn't take long for these puppets to be destroyed. Phew! The Luo family's patriarch and the others breathed a sigh of relief, feeling as if they had survived a disaster. Lin Xian took back the precept fragment, and he was incomparably calm. To be honest, even if he didn't break the array, with his strength he could kill them. However, he would have to use some of his trump cards. Lin Xian didn't want to do that. Otherwise, the puppets couldn't do anything to him. Next, Everyone went on their way again. During this time, they encountered 2 more groups of puppets and attacked them. However, they used this method to forcefully break the array. Lin Xian and the others were incomparably strong all the way to the depths of the falling abyss. Haha, will we be the only ones to enter? The Luo family's patriarch was a little excited. After all, there weren't many teams as strong as them. The Qi family's patriarch shook his head. It's not that simple. As far as I know, before we came, there were already some powerful experts who went in. Moreover, even if they were with us, some of them were very terrifying. Therefore, we can't be the only ones to enter. After all, this time, it wasn't just 1 or 2 stellar worlds, but many half-saints geniuses from other worlds. It could be said that this was a fierce battle. Are there other geniuses from the stellar Silk World? I can take a look. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. He had seen some of them before, but now those geniuses from other worlds were no longer a threat to him. However, he knew that those who could step on the ancient path of the stars were definitely strong. There would definitely be sage-level geniuses and experts waiting for him in front. And he was fearless. Finally, after a difficult battle, the number of black puppets in front of them gradually decreased. Moreover, it wasn't an empty space, but some land. Chapter 3203. Great, we can land now. The Qi family patriarch heaved a sigh of relief. Then everyone descended. Hee, I didn't expect a small fry to come. A cold voice came from the front. There's someone. The Qi family patriarch and the others stopped in their tracks. Their gazes shifted to the front. There was indeed someone. A young man in white walked over with a pair of white wings on his back. It wasn't a pair of wings formed by superpowers, but real wings. Obviously, he wasn't from the human race. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. The young man in white walked over and said coldly, "Scram, this isn't a place you can come." "What did you say?" The Qi family patriarch and the others' faces darkened. The other party was just a martial artist who had comprehended something close to the Tao. How dare he ask them to scram? They had 6 half-saints on their side. Sure enough, the Qi family patriarch snorted and a ray of light rushed forward. He could easily kill a martial artist who had comprehended something close to the Tao. Clang! The ray of light arrived in front of the young man in white. Countless runes appeared on the young man in white, forming a light screen. He blocked it. "Humph, is a half-saint that great? You want to kill me? Do you have the ability?" The young man in white sneered. There was a mysterious light flickering on his body. "Damn it, who is this guy? He actually has 3 half-saint artifacts." The Crimson Dragon was shocked. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. It seems like he's a young master of some family. And this family must be extremely powerful. The Qi family patriarch was stunned when he saw that his attack was ineffective. A young man who has 3 half-saint artifacts? What a surprise! He asked in a deep voice, "Who are you?" "Humph, I'm from the White Crane race." The young man in white said proudly. The pair of white wings on his back spread out and emitted a white light. "What, the White Crane race? You're from the White Crane race?" The Qi family patriarch was shocked. The Luo family patriarch and the other 2 sucked in a cold breath. 10,000 ancient races? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. The Crimson Dragon snorted. Its meat should be delicious. Was the White Crane clan very powerful? Lin Xian asked doubtfully. The White Crane race should also be one of the 10,000 ancient races. The 10,000 ancient races were not only present in the true spirit world, but also in the entire universe. That's right, the White Crane clan was extremely powerful. They occupied a planet and named it the White Crane Planet. In that world of stars, they reigned supreme. Although there were other races, they all had to submit to their White Crane race. Gold Origin said in a deep voice. It was very obvious that they definitely knew how terrifying the White Crane clan was. When the white-robed young man heard this, he laughed loudly. Looks like you know how powerful my White Crane clan is. Since that's the case, why don't you scram? Occupying an entire world of stars. Lin Xian was shocked. It seemed that the 10,000 ancient races were very strong. *CK, this guy is too arrogant. I really want to slap him to death, then roast him into meat skewers to eat. The Crimson Dragon gnashed its teeth. At this moment, the Luo family's patriarch also walked out. He said, "So it's the young master of the White Crane clan. How did we offend you? Why did you ask us to leave for no reason?" The Qi family's patriarch and the others were also very confused. It was not easy for them to come here, but now they were being chased away. How could they be willing to accept this? Offend us? The white-robed young man was stunned, then he sneered. "Who do you think you are? Do you have the right to offend my White Crane clan? I'm here to clean up the trash. You don't have to go forward anymore." "What? Cleaning up ants?" Hearing this, the Luo family's patriarch and the others' faces turned extremely ugly. It seemed that regardless of whether they had offended the White Crane clan or not, the other party would not let them leave. The other party was planning to clear the place and take all the treasures inside. "Damn it, your White Crane clan is too arrogant." The Qi family's patriarch gnashed his teeth. He had waited for 300 years, and he could finally come again. How could he leave just because of a sentence from someone else? "I'm arrogant. What can you do about it? You were the one who attacked me just now, right? Cut off one of his arms for me." The arm that attacked me. The Luo family's patriarch and the others were stunned, but Lin Xian's pupils shrank. In the next moment, the Qi family's patriarch's arm flew into the sky, blood splattering everywhere. Then, the Qi family's patriarch's scream was heard. "Yes, master." A figure appeared beside the Qi family's patriarch, holding a long saber in his hand. The saber was shining brightly. "Damn it, there's someone here. So fast!" The Luo family's patriarch Jin Yuan and Xiao Wu's pupils shrank. Even Lin Xian was shocked. It seems that there's an expert hiding here. The Qi family's patriarch screamed and quickly sealed his qi and blood. His face was extremely pale, and he retreated to the side. 7 stars revolved around his body, forming the 7 stars armor. Then, the severed arm grew out again. Sage to be, the Black Bat clan. The Qi family's patriarch's face was extremely ugly. The other party's speed was too fast, and he only reacted when the other party cut off his arm. If the other party had aimed for his head, would he have been able to dodge it? The white-robed youth in front of him shouted coldly, "This is a lesson for you. Get lost. Otherwise, I'll destroy your body and soul." They did not expect that there would be a half-step saint from the Black Bat clan. Moreover, he was so fast. However, do you think a half-step saint can stop us? "We have 6 half-step saints." The Qi family's patriarch looked up and said coldly, "Are 6 half-step saints that powerful? Do it, and let them know the consequences of disobeying my orders." Buzz, the half-step saint from the Black Bat clan, made his move, and he disappeared into the void in an instant. Oh no! The Qi family's patriarch and the others narrowed their eyes. Buzz, the 7 stars armor on the Qi family's patriarch shone brightly. He shouted loudly, and the surrounding void quickly shattered. In the next moment, his body flew out, and he received tens of thousands of attacks in an instant. Every single one of them crashed into the same place, causing one of his arms to be chopped off once again. "Ah!" The Qi family's patriarch screamed. At the same time, Jin Yuanzi's head flew out. Similarly, he received tens of thousands of attacks in an instant. Not only him, but the Luo family's patriarch and Xiao Wu were also attacked. All 4 of them retreated, and they were injured. In the next moment, they looked in front of them in horror. "Damn it, who the hell are you?" The fragment of the law of speed. He has comprehended the law of speed. These people were stunned. It was too fast. Even as half-step saints, they could not keep up. Moreover, The other party had attacked too many times in an instant. Although one attack was not enough to break their defense, it was still too fast. However, with so many attacks landing on the same spot, even they would find it difficult to withstand it. Ha 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 ha, now you know how powerful I am. The white-robed youth in front of them laughed loudly. How dare a few half-step saints like you be so arrogant in front of me? If you provoke me, I'll kill you all. Chapter 3204. Damn it, we have so many half-saints. I don't believe we can't beat him. The Qi family patriarch gritted his teeth. Indeed, they had 6 half-saints and Lin Xian. How could they not beat him? Even if this half-saint from the Blackback clan had comprehended the law of speed, they still had a way. Was that so? The youth in white sneered and clapped his hands lightly. A roar came from the darkness behind him. Then a few huge creatures walked out. These 2 huge creatures were as big as mountains. Each of them looked ferocious, and the aura they emitted was terrifying. Hellhounds! Lin Xian was shocked. There were 2 half-saint hellhounds. He had seen a hell dog before. Back in the true spirit world, in the central continent, he had seen a hell dog corpse. But that one hadn't reached the half-saint level. Now there were 2 of them alive. Sure enough, the Qi family patriarch and the others were shocked when they saw the 2 hellhounds. Hellhounds! They were strange beasts of heaven and earth. They were terrifying. The 3 heads represented 3 different attributes between heaven and earth. Moreover, they were half-saints, and there were 2 of them. In terms of teamwork, the half-saints from the Blackback clan were terrifying. Damn it! The White Crane clan had brought so many experts this time. Moreover, merely a young man from the White Crane clan had brought 3 half-saints with him, not to mention the other half-saints from the White Crane clan. Thinking of this, the Qi family patriarch and the others felt their scalps go numb. Did they really have the strength to fight against such a person? Forget it. Jin Yuanzi smiled bitterly. No matter how strong he was, he couldn't fight against the White Crane clan. Even if they could fight their way in now, they might still be killed if they encountered a half-saint from the White Crane clan. Therefore, Jin Yuanzi shook his head and didn't plan to fight. Xiao Wu did the same. The Qi family patriarch and the Luo family patriarch exchanged a look and smiled bitterly. Jin Yuanzi and Xiao Wu had already given up. They couldn't beat the other party even if they worked together, so they were ready to give up. Seeing the ugly expressions of the Qi clan's patriarch and the others, the young man in white sneered coldly. They didn't know what was good for them. They should have retreated earlier. Why did they have to wait for me to display my strength? Do you think you can contend against me? Get out of here. The Qi family's ancestor and the others shook their heads and turned around, preparing to retreat. However, in the next moment, they were stunned because they realized that Lin Xian had no intention of leaving. He even walked forward. The Crimson Dragon also followed. Lin Gongzi, the Qi family patriarch, and the others were stunned for a moment before they asked, since they were already here, how could they not go and take a look? Lin Xian said faintly without the slightest fear, Up ahead, the white-robed youth had originally wanted to leave. However, he suddenly realized that someone was walking towards him. You don't know the difference between life and death. Do you want to die? However, he soon discovered that it was not the Qi family's patriarch, but a young man. From the looks of it, this person was even younger than him. Who was this? Were they the juniors of those half-saints? He was so reckless. Kid, your seniors have already gone back. How dare you continue to advance? In that case, go to hell. Elder He, cut off his legs and bring him to me. I want to torture him to death. The white-robed youth was enraged. Since someone dared to provoke him, he naturally wanted to make Lin Xian suffer. Buzz. Hearing this, the half-saints of the Blackback clan disappeared instantly. In the next moment, a sharp blade light slashed towards Lin Xian's legs. Clang! An earth-shattering sound was heard as the blade landed on Lin Xian's legs, emitting countless streaks of lightning. However, it did not shatter. Half-step Saint He Bat was stunned. Then he used the law of speed fragment, and instantly, tens of thousands of attacks were formed in an instant. It looked like a single blade, but it had gathered tens of thousands of forces. "Get out of here!" Lin Xian shouted coldly and kicked out. This time, he was like a real dragon, bringing with him a powerful force that collided with the tens of thousands of attacks. Boom! The entire world turned blurry and shattered continuously. Half-step Saint He Bat was sent flying. His arm was numb, and he looked shocked. You're not a junior. You're a half-saint." The white-robed youth in front of him was also stunned. In his opinion, Lin Xian should be a junior of the Qi family patriarch and the others. However, it seemed that this was not the case. Lin Xian was a half-saint, and a very powerful one at that. Otherwise, how could he have forced half-step Saint He Bat to retreat? "Black Bat, kill him. Don't hold back." The white-robed youth, who was riding on a three-headed hellhound, said coldly. "Yes." Half-step Saint He Bat nodded. His body shone with an unparalleled light. Streaks of black runes covered his entire body. The black long blade in his hand shone with black runes. The law of speed fragment circled the area, and he disappeared instantly. In an instant, he appeared around Lin Xian. He waved his long blade and attacked with tens of thousands of attacks. Boom! 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 All of the attacks landed on Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian's speed was not slow either. Hence, the attacks could not hit the same spot. Clanging sounds rang out as Lin Xian used his physical strength to resist the attacks. All of this happened in an instant. Half-step Saint He Bat retreated in shock. Damn it, what kind of physique was this? He was too shocked. Previously, he had used tens of thousands of attacks to injure the Qi family patriarch. Now he could not injure the young man in front of him. What a strong physique! This was a body-refining half-saint. Half-step Saint He Bat roared and attacked with 1,000,000 attacks. This time his speed was even faster. He was so fast that even the Qi family patriarch and the others could not catch him. The Qi family patriarch and the others felt their scalps go numb. Lin Xian's eyes shone with a piercing light. Had his speed increased by 10 times? He roared and pushed his divine body to the extreme. The law of fire fragment on his body spewed out and burned fiercely, completely enveloping him. Buzz! This time, Lin Xian did not take the attack head-on. Instead, he attacked. The 2 law of fire fragment swung in the air. "It's useless. You can't keep up with my speed." Half-step Saint He Bat's cold voice rang out. In an instant, he passed through the flames and arrived in front of Lin Xian. The long saber in his hand slashed down crazily. The saber contained millions of saber light. This was 1,000,000 attacks. Humph! Lin Xian was enraged. Golden light bloomed from his body, making him look like an indestructible god of war. He waved his fist and attacked like the sun. "It's useless. You can't keep up with my speed." Half-step Saint He Bat sneered again. As expected, he was very fast. Lin Xian's fist had only reached halfway when half-step Saint He Bat's saber slashed down with millions of saber light. "You're dead meat now, aren't you?" Half-step Saint He Bat's lips curled into a cold smile. The Qi family patriarch and the others felt their scalps go numb. "It's over. Lin Gongzi is in danger." Yes, the law of speed was too difficult to break. Of all the martial arts in the world, only speed was unbreakable. It was impossible to resist. They knew that Lin Xian's body was strong, but they did not think that Lin Xian's body could withstand millions of attacks. Chapter 3205. At this critical moment, a black pattern appeared on Lin Xian's body. It was like a doubt pattern. Millions of attacks hit the black light and disappeared without a trace, as if they had stepped into a quagmire. What's going on? Half Saint Black Bat was stunned. His attack had actually failed. He hadn't hit his opponent? How could this be? What was that black light? Boom! While he was in a daze, a fist as bright as the sun hit him and sent him flying. Half of his body turned into a bloody mist. This scene happened extremely quickly. In merely an instant it had happened. Thus, by the time the crowd reacted, they saw half-holy Black Bat vomiting blood and being sent flying. He was injured. Black Bat King was injured. The young man in white was stunned. The Qi family patriarch and the others screamed. This was too unbelievable. They had been worried about Lin Xian. Who would have thought that Lin Xian would gain the upper hand in the blink of an eye? Ruzalong, I'll leave him to you. Lin Xian retracted his fist and turned to stare at the young man in white in front of him. Don't worry, leave him to me. I'll turn him into a dead bat. The crimson dragon chuckled and flew over. Ah! Black Bat rushed out and roared at the sky. His body was full of murderous intent. Thousands of shadows appeared in the sky. He was so fast that no one could tell which one was real. Countless pairs of cold eyes stared down. Damn snake, you dare to stop me? Get lost. Thousands of shadows shot toward the crimson dragon. Crimson Dragon Shinong snorted in disdain. The dragon's roar reverberated through the sky. All of a sudden, the afterimages in the sky began to tremble and shatter. The dragon's roar. Damn it, you're from the Dragon Clan. Half-Saint Black Bat's face darkened. The young man in white also looked cold. He didn't expect Lin Xian to be from the Dragon Clan. Damn brat, who the hell are you? He stared at Lin Xian. Lin Xian gritted his teeth and asked. Lin Xian didn't answer. He stood with his hands behind his back and said coldly, "Those who stand in my way will die." Do you really think you can get past me just because you've got Black Bat pinned down? How naive. Go, kill him. The young man said to a Cerberus beside him. Roar. The Cerberus charged forward, its 3 heads roaring at the same time. Its murderous aura shook the 9 heavens and tore the void apart. Behind him, the Qi family's ancestor and the others trembled as fear filled their eyes. The Qi and blood in their bodies churned. Heavens, this Cerberus of hell is really too scary. Lin Xian was fearless. He charged forward like a god of war. In the blink of an eye, it clashed with the Cerberus. The 2 of them clashed. Every strike was like a clap of thunder, emitting dazzling light that illuminated the entire sky. He was actually able to fight to a draw with the infernal realm. The Qi family patriarch and the others were shocked. The Hellhound was a legendary magical beast. It was said that it suppressed the underworld and was incomparably terrifying. But now he couldn't do anything to Lin Xian. The next moment, they screamed even louder. The reason for that was because Lin Xian had unleashed tens of thousands of sword auras and beheaded both of the Hellhound's heads. Roar! The Cerberus roared crazily at the sky, and its broken heads reassembled. It charged over again. However, Lin Xian grabbed the 2 reassembled heads with both hands and tore the huge body into 2. Along with it was an incomparably large pitch-black crack that extended across the sky. It was a ghastly sight. Damn it, you go and help too. When the young man in white saw this scene, he immediately shouted in a low voice. The other Cerberus under his feet also charged over. The 3 heads opened their mouths and spat out lightning, fire, and ice. The terrifying energy shook the void, causing the entire world to distort. Lin Xian let out a long roar. Brilliant light shone from him as he pushed his divine body to its limits. At that moment, he seemed to have transformed into a human-shaped Tyrannosaurus Rex as he shuttled through the energy in the sky. The 2 fragments of the laws in his hands formed 2 swords of the laws. As he waved them, they destroyed everything. Boom! The 13th sword cut the Cerberus in half again. The other Cerberus, 3 heads were sent flying. Roar! Black chi surged on the two Cerberus bodies as they roared crazily. Their bodies reassembled again. With a roar, the black lightning in the sky pierced through the sky and shattered the void, directly enveloping Lin Xian. At the same time, ice covered the entire space. A layer of ice and snow appeared on the Qi family patriarch's body. They could only use their fragments of the laws to resist and keep retreating. It was too powerful. Was this Lin Wuti? The Luo family patriarch and the others were completely stunned. With the strength of one person, he fought against 2 half-saint Cerberus and successfully suppressed them. This was simply too shocking. One should know that they were no match for the Cerberus in a one-on-one fight. Unless the 4 of them attacked together, they might not be able to fight against the 2 Cerberus. But now, Lin Xian had done it all by himself. On the other side, Half-Saint Blackbat was even more shocked. How could the other party be so terrifying? And what made him despair was that the dragon in front of him was equally terrifying. The other party had 2 fragments of the laws. Even if he had the law of speed, he could not do anything to the other party. Even his life was in danger. Roar! Lin Xian punched out, releasing a light as bright as the sun. At the same time, a dragon's roar came from his body, resounding through the 9 heavens. At this moment, everyone's expression changed. Buzz! The 2 infernal hounds trembled as well. Their 3 heads appeared, filled with fear. They did not expect the other party to be able to let out a dragon's roar and intimidate them. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the great dragon's sword soul exploded with power, covering the 2 swords of the laws. Lin Xian slashed forward. The 2 sword chi split the Cerberus bodies. The great dragon sword soul that he had learned made it impossible for the 2 Cerberus to heal completely. There was a large crack in their bodies from the beginning to the end. The 2 Cerberus roared crazily, looking ferocious, but they could not erase the aura of the great dragon sword soul. Lin Xian turned his head and stared at the youth in white in front of him. The youth in white trembled and almost knelt on the ground in fear. Although he was arrogant and had 3 half-saints by his side, his true strength was only that of a martial artist who was close to the Tao. How could he be a match for Lin Xian? So in Lin Xian's eyes, the youth in white was about to explode. The next moment he snorted, and the belt on his waist released an incomparable light. The dense runes on it rushed out and enveloped his body. Only then did he block the half-saint's power. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. The other party had several half-saint artifacts on him. He was too rich. Was the White Crane clan that terrifying? However, Lin Xian was not afraid. He said coldly, "I've said it before. Those who block me will die. Since you dare to block my way, then go to hell." Chapter 3206. Damn it, you dare to kill me? The white-robed young man screamed like a madman. He was from the White Crane clan. Their White Crane clan was so powerful, who would dare to attack him? He was such a young genius, but he had 3 half-saints protecting him. There were so many powerful people from the White Crane clan among them. As expected, the Luo clan's patriarch, Qi clan's patriarch, and the others also exclaimed, "Young master, you can't do this." They wouldn't stop Lin Xian from attacking the White Crane clan. However, if he killed this young man, things would get out of hand. He would completely offend the White Crane clan. With the strength of the White Crane clan, if they attacked, they probably wouldn't be able to leave alive. Lin Xian turned his head and glanced at the Luo clan's patriarch and the others. "I've made up my mind." Lin Xian raised his hand and slashed. A terrifying sword light slashed forward. No, the white-robed young man screamed like a madman. He opened his mouth and spat out a blue light, which turned into stars one after another and enveloped him like a river of stars. It blocked the shocking sword chi. Boom! The two supernatural powers collided in the air and exploded with an unparalleled light. The world was pierced by this light. The river of stars in the sky shattered. The white-robed young man was sent flying and vomited blood. His body was about to split open. However, it reassembled in an instant. He's fine? Lin Xian was astonished. Someone who was close to the Great Path was actually able to take a sword from him. No one would believe it if he told others. There were two more half-saint artifacts. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. The pendant on the young man's neck, the belt on his waist, and the river of stars above his head. The 3 layers of defense protected the young man. However, the river of stars shattered and the light of the pendant and belt dimmed. "Damn it, I want you to die." The white-robed young man screamed like a madman. He raised his hand and shot out a red light. It quickly flew toward Lin Xian. "Lin Gongzi, we just need to subdue him. There's no need to take his life." The Qi clan's patriarch quickly persuaded. "The White Crane clan is very powerful. Young master, please don't let your emotions affect your decisions." While speaking, Lin Xian had already slashed apart the red light with his sword. He could see that it was a red box with an ancient design. It carried a mysterious aura. But what was it? Lin Xian didn't know. He didn't care, so he struck out with his sword. Suddenly, the blood-red box was split open, and globs of dark black blood appeared from within, directly enveloping him. "Not good. Kid, that's the saint's blood poison. Get out of my way." The crimson dragon roared. The moment the dark red box broke and blood flowed out, he sensed it and immediately warned the others. However, he was still a step too late. Behind them, the Qi family ancestor and the others felt their scalps go numb. Saint's blood poison. Heavens! How could he have such a thing? It's over. Lin Gongzi is in danger. I told you long ago not to offend the White Crane clan. Ha ha ha, brat, let's see how you'll die. This is the blood poison of a saint. It was refined from a saint's body. If a half-step saint comes into contact with it, he will definitely die. Moreover, his body and soul will be destroyed. This is your fate if you dare to offend me. Lin Xian also heard the Crimson Dragon's warning, but it was already too late. The saint's blood poison had already enveloped him. In an instant, Lin Xian's body trembled slightly. The light of the 9 yang divine body dimmed. Oh no, what a terrifying poison! What a terrifying blood! Lin Xian felt an extremely powerful saint's aura. Obviously, this was related to the saint. Moreover, from the looks of it, it should be the saint's blood that had been refined to form the blood poison. Indeed, the other party was right. Once this blood poison was released, a half-step saint would not be able to resist it at all. It could even kill a half-step saint in groups. Danger, and it was an extremely dangerous situation. Lin Xian did not dare to hold back. He roared angrily and used the great dragon's sword soul to the extreme. Together with the Annihilation Law fragment, he quickly attacked. His body was enveloped, and in an instant he shot out countless sword chi to resist the blood poison. All right, this kid is dead. Next, only this dragon is left. Catch him. I haven't eaten dragon meat yet. The white-clothed youth laughed. The 2 hellhounds and the black bat half-step saint stared at the crimson dragon. Damn it! The crimson dragon spat out rain and monstrous lightning that filled the sky, attacking in all directions. At the same time, he looked anxiously at Lin Xian. He did not know if the kid could withstand the saint's blood poison. Boom! A large crack was torn open in the saint's blood poison, and then a figure walked out. Lin Xian's clothes were torn, and countless cracks appeared on his 9 yang divine body. Blood dyed his body red, and he looked abnormally ferocious. It was as if he had crawled out of hell. His eyes flickered with a golden light, and his body was overflowing with killing intent. What other tricks do you have? What? Nothing. Impossible. How could you rush out of the saint's blood poison? The white-clothed youth was stunned. His face was full of fear, and his body was trembling. He was so scared that he almost wet himself. How was that possible? Once the saint's blood poison was released, it would not be a problem to kill the 6 half-step saints in front of him, let alone deal with one person with all his strength. Even if that kid had 100 lives, it would not be enough to kill him. However, the current situation was that the kid was not dead at all. His body was only broken and slightly injured. Stop him! The white-clothed youth ordered the 2 hellhounds. At the same time, he retreated rapidly and flew into the depths of the abyss. He had no choice. His opponent was too terrifying. He had to leave this place quickly. Scram! The 2 hellhounds rushed over. Lin Xian roared like a god of war, and the cracks on his body quickly healed. Streaks of golden aura shot into the sky. 2 fists punched out, blasting the 2 hellhounds into pieces. At the same time, he turned into a ray of light and flew forward. It's over. Something big has happened. This time, he will not rest until he dies. The Qi family's patriarch's face was extremely pale. He knew that with Lin Xian's personality, he would not spare the white-clothed youth. And behind the white-clothed young man stood the White Crane clan. What should we do? Jin Yuanzi asked anxiously. The Qi family's patriarch took a deep breath. Let's go and take a look. Let's see if we can persuade Lin Gongzi. The Luo family's patriarch snorted coldly. A hint of coldness appeared in his eyes, but he did not say anything. The group of people quickly flew forward. At the same time, the Crimson Dragon swung its tail because its opponent, half-step Saint Blackbat, had already turned into a ray of light and was quickly chasing after it. In the depths of the abyss, there was a gray aura everywhere, and there were shadows of Een spirits circling the area. It was spine-chilling. The entire land was grayish-white in color and carried an extremely terrifying aura. In front of them, there were gray mountains of different heights. They were densely packed together and formed a mountain range. There were some people gathered on the mountain range. Some of them stood alone on a mountain, while others gathered together. However, without exception, the aura on their bodies was extremely powerful. Chapter 3207. Some figures were sitting cross-legged on the most majestic, gray-white mountain peak. They were so powerful that the surrounding people did not dare to look at them. The atmosphere in the entire mountain range was very quiet. It was as if everyone was cultivating and waiting for something. However, at this moment, a figure suddenly rushed in and broke the tranquil atmosphere. "Ancestor, save me!" A terrified voice was heard, spreading throughout the mountain range. In an instant, the mysterious figures on the mountain peaks opened their eyes. Countless rays of light looked down. Isn't this a member of the White Crane clan? Why is he so terrified? Could it be that someone is fighting their way in? Just as they were puzzled, a figure instantly appeared in the middle of the 3 clans. Could he run away if he wanted to? Then, a ray of sword chi flew over like a rainbow. It brought with it an unparalleled radiance, illuminating the gray-white sky. Damn it, how dare you! At this critical moment, a long black saber flew through the air and slashed at Lin Xian, trying to kill him. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Without turning his head, he slashed his sword at Half-Saint Blackbat. This sword was a sword of laws. It directly split Half-Saint Blackbat in half. At the same time, the sword Light of Laws in front of him also pierced through the defense of the Half-Saint weapon. It pierced through the body of the white-robed youth and nailed him to the ground. The white-robed youth was nailed to the ground. He screamed crazily. His body was trembling, but he could not break free at all. On the mountain peaks in the distance, the experts gasped. Who is this? Who dares to attack a member of the White Crane clan? In an instant, countless voices looked toward the most majestic mountain peak. On that mountain peak, there were many powerful figures sitting cross-legged. They all had a pair of white crane wings on their backs. They were the experts of the White Crane clan. From the moment the white-robed youth entered to the moment he was nailed to the ground, it happened in an instant. Therefore, they did not have time to react. Moreover, they had never thought that someone would dare to attack a member of the White Crane clan. Moreover, it was in front of them. Stop! A cold shout reverberated in all directions. Immediately, the space within 1,000,000 miles was shattered. One could imagine how terrifying this person was. However, Lin Xian acted as if he didn't hear anything. With a shake of his hand, the sword light in front of him exploded once again, shattering the white-clothed youth's body into pieces. Even his soul was destroyed in an instant. Dead. The pupils of the experts and half-step saints on the surrounding mountain peaks shrank. They couldn't believe that the other party had really attacked. He had killed the people of the White Crane clan. Moreover, he had destroyed their bodies and souls. This guy is dead for sure. This was what all of them were thinking. Courting death. The people of the White Crane clan roared as if they had gone mad. Endless killing, intent, soared into the sky. Boom! Heaven and earth trembled as a massive palm descended from the sky, bringing with it countless law fragments and bursting with shocking energy. In an instant, it enveloped Lin Xian. Lin Xian's figure flickered and retreated far away, dodging the attack. However, the giant palm of law followed him like a shadow, once again enveloping Lin Xian. From the looks of it, the other party would not give up until they killed Lin Xian. Lin Xian moved his hand, and immediately the black magic staff fragments gathered. The power of annihilation quickly condensed into a sword of law, which he slashed out. The two collided in the sky. The collision of the sword of law and the giant palm of law brought about endless light. The power of annihilation destroyed everything. It caused the palm to rapidly shrink until it was about to disappear. However, the giant palm of law was also extremely terrifying. It had endless power, as if it was the law of earth. In the end, the powerful force also shattered the sword qi of the sword of law. The two dissipated into the void at the same time. Lin Xian waved his hand, and endless qi shattered all the energy. Then he raised his head and looked forward. The half-step saints on the surrounding mountain peaks were discussing spiritedly. He blocked it. The other party actually blocked it. Who was this person? Could it be that he was an old monster? On the huge mountain peak, the people of the White Crane clan also frowned. Several of their gazes were fixed on Lin Xian, wanting to penetrate him. However, Lin Xian was not afraid. The sword qi on his body tumbled and destroyed everything, blocking their gazes. Lin Gongzi, don't attack. At this moment, a few exclamations came from behind. Then, the Qi clan's patriarch and the others barged in. They wanted to persuade Lin Xian. However, when they arrived at the scene, they were stunned. This was because they realized that Lin Xian seemed to have already attacked. Moreover, there were too many people here. Not only the White Crane clan, but there were also many figures on the surrounding mountain peaks. It was the Tongue clan's patriarch, the Tiger Dragon clan, the Silver Armor clan, the Golden Rock clan. One by one, powerful clans appeared in front of the Qi clan's patriarch and the others. The Qi clan's patriarch and the others were extremely pale. Beside him, Jin Yuanzi, the Luo clan's patriarch, and the others also looked extremely solemn. They were facing a great enemy. This was because the clans and the experts in front were too famous. They dominated the nearby star realm. One of them could wipe out a group of people. For example, the Qi clan's patriarch was not strong enough. A few more people came. These people also looked at the Qi clan's patriarch and the others. Suddenly, the Qi clan's patriarch and the others felt as if they had been pierced through by thousands of swords. They felt uncomfortable, and their souls were about to tremble. After all, the people in front of them were all top experts. However, They were most curious about Lin Xian. Who was this person? How dare he go against the White Crane clan? Kid, how dare you kill the people of the White Crane clan? Kneel down and accept your death. In front of them, on the majestic mountain peak, a figure stood out. It was also a young man. He shouted sternly. Lin Xian looked up and said coldly, "Who do you think you are? You're not even a half-saint. How dare you show off in front of me?" Two sharp golden swords burst out from his eyes and slashed forward with a monstrous flame aura. In an instant, they were close to the young man. Damn it! The young man was scared out of his wits. Although he was arrogant, he was only a genius who had comprehended something. How could he withstand the attack of a half-saint? Fortunately, there were countless experts of the White Crane clan around him. Buzz, a middle-aged man, attacked fiercely and caught the two swords in an instant. A disdainful smile appeared on his face. A mere half-saint dares to behave atrociously in front of the White Crane clan? Today you're dead. Boom! As soon as he finished speaking, the two golden swords split open. Endless flames of the laws shrouded the area. Ah! A scream was heard. The young man who shouted coldly was burned to ashes. Even his soul did not escape. How could my sword be so easy to catch? Lin Xian stood proudly with his hands behind his back. Ah! I want you dead. On the mountain peak in front of them, the endless void shattered. Crazy roars could be heard. Chapter 3208. In the next moment, the flames disappeared. The faces of the White Crane tribe's elites were terrifyingly dark. Their killing intent surged, and millions of miles of the void were completely covered. At this moment, the Qi family's patriarch and the others trembled. The elites on the surrounding mountains also changed their expressions. Another young elite had died, and this time he was killed in front of the elites of the White Crane tribe. This was too overbearing. This was a public slap to the White Crane tribe's face. The middle-aged man who attacked previously was also furious. The white wings on his back spread out, and he turned into thousands of streams of light, instantly arriving in front of Lin Xian. A fist, carrying endless rays of light, rushed straight up. Boom! The blue fragments of the staff danced in the air, as if thousands of waves were roaring. In an instant, the surroundings were completely surrounded by the sea, completely enveloping Lin Xian. The law of water. Kid, aren't you the law of fire? Watch how I'll drown you. The White Crane tribe's half-saint revealed a ferocious expression. He wanted to tear Lin Xian into pieces. Buzz! Golden runes spun rapidly in Lin Xian's eyes, and a fiery red light surged out. In an instant, he charged forward. The 9 heavens and 10 lands were engulfed. Monstrous flames burned silently, and the sea water in the sky stirred up each other. This was an earth-shattering battle. Even the elites and half-saints around were tense, because these two forces were simply too powerful. These half-saints and the young elites around them were trembling. If it weren't for their patriarchs, just the aftermath of this energy would have been enough to kill them. This scene was simply too terrifying. Water and fire intersected, and the void kept collapsing. A terrifying force flooded the area. The surrounding mountain peaks were also collapsing. Boom! In the end, a surge of energy shot up into the sky, tearing apart countless gray auras. The entire abyss seemed to be illuminated. Water spreading to the 9 heavens. Die for me! In the violent energy, the voice of the White Crane tribe's elite could be heard. Buzz! On the other side, Lin Xian snorted coldly. Streaks of terrifying sword qi surged out, turning into fire dragons that bared their fangs and brandished their claws. The two of them exchanged more than a dozen moves, causing the sky to collapse and the earth to rend. Boom! It was another shocking strike. The void was completely torn apart, and the two figures retreated. Lin Xian stood with his hands behind his back, looking like an immortal. On the other side, the powerhouse of the White Crane clan was so angry that his entire body was trembling. Damn it, he was actually helpless against the other party? On his arm there was a sword mark. The aura it carried was something he could not erase in a short period of time. Damn it, who the hell are you? I am Lin Woody. The White Crane clan doesn't know what's good for them. Blocking my path, they deserve death. A cold voice resounded through the 9 heavens. When the surrounding people heard this, their scalps went numb. Too arrogant. He actually dared to say such words to the White Crane clan. He was truly arrogant to the extreme. The other half-saints all turned pale. The experts of the White Crane clan also frowned. Lin Woody? What an arrogant name. I think I've heard of him before. Is he the young genius who killed Patriarch Shuapao? It's actually him. Wasn't he already killed by Patriarch Shuapao's curse and perished together with him? How is he still alive? This was a true young genius. His strength was so strong that it made people tremble. A few exclamations were heard. Obviously, they had also heard of the scene that happened on the Blood Refinement Planet. A young genius? Many people's eyes were fierce. The young martial artists beside the half-saints were also shocked. The other party was actually the same as them. They were all of the younger generation. However, the other party had already left them far behind and became a half-saint powerhouse. This made them unable to believe it. After the people of the White Crane clan heard this, their faces also darkened. Who was I at that time? So it was just a young man. What Lin Woody? Just because he killed a half-saint, he thinks he's invincible? You really don't know what's good for you. How would an ant like you know how vast the world is and how many powerhouses there are? My White Crane clan is not something you can provoke. If you want to fight, I'll accompany you to the end. Lin Xian said proudly. He was still not afraid. White Crane clan. So what? Back then, when he was not a half-saint, he had already fought against the 10,000 ancient races. He had even killed people from the 1,000 Dragons Court and Fire Chillin Cave, let alone the White Crane clan. His path was to press forward with indomitable will. Anyone who dared to block his path would be killed. The faces of the people of the White Crane clan darkened. In front of them, the middle-aged half-saint was also trembling. It was obvious that he was going to attack again. At the same time, another old figure walked over from the mountain peak. Another half-saint. Everyone's pupils constricted. Was the White Crane clan going to kill him? No matter how strong the other party was, he would not be able to withstand 2 half-saints attacking together. Lin Xian snorted coldly. So what if there were 2 half-saints? It was not like he had not killed them before. The dragon soul in his body circulated, and the sword chi on his body was about to erupt. However, at this moment, a loud voice came from afar. It turned into thunder and rolled over. Young Master Yen was here. The moment this was said, everyone's expression changed, and they all stood up. The half-saints of the White Crane clan were also stunned. Their expressions were strange, and in the next moment, they retracted their murderous aura. Brat, you are very lucky. We will let you live for a while. Let us go and welcome young Master Yen. The half-saints did not attack again. Instead, they all soared into the sky and went into the distance. It seemed that they were waiting for someone important. Lin Xian frowned. Could it be that a saint-level being had arrived? To be able to move the half-saints so much? Why do I feel a familiar aura? The Crimson Dragon's eyes flickered. Lin Xian looked at the Qi clan's ancestor and the others. The Qi clan's ancestor smiled bitterly. I have just recovered my strength. I do not know what is happening outside. However, at this moment, the half-saint said, I have heard that this young master, Yen, is extremely powerful. He is the same as you, young master. He is also of the younger generation. However, it is said that he is the successor of a great emperor. He is extremely powerful. Among the half-saints, he is extremely terrifying. Moreover, He is the one with the highest chance of entering the Saint Realm. Moreover, this young Master Yin is walking the path of a great emperor. It is very likely that he will become a great emperor in the future. Therefore, many large clans and sects have placed their hopes on him. They are trying their best to please him. Young Master Yin is the successor of a great emperor. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He seemed to have thought of someone. Moreover, it was someone familiar. The Crimson Dragon also whispered, "It must be that brat." The successor of a great emperor. His influence is too terrifying. It can definitely move the half-saints. Are you guys not going to welcome him? At this moment, the Luo clan's ancestor spoke in a deep voice. The Qi clan's ancestor was stunned. The Luo clan's ancestor said, "I will leave first." He soared into the sky and walked forward. Lin Gongzi, we do not dare to offend the successor of a great emperor. The Qi clan's ancestor and the others looked at Lin Xian and smiled bitterly. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.